and like HR, and I need to
Well,
find it.
what's in it?
Like, thank you. Like all the like super senior level positions, and then
Yay.
but it's like gender parity because like technically. Like over 8 months.
You lost your yeah.
And so like there's like that like it just feels like awkward. And awkward because like it's see, isn't that problematic? Yeah, and I'm like, yeah. And like they literally said like joke. I don't know. Like, oh yeah, he takes like good. I was like, thank you. Yeah, so I worked on their CEIA team and it was me, a white woman. So those are like the two employees. And then
Yeah,
like
so there's because they're also there's like you know there's more
Yeah.
I mean,
No, it's
yeah.
actually so crazy. And
I
think
you
they
have to
like
sit
hired
here.
me
You're being vacancy.
because I was
Yeah, I have to come here.
you know,
Yeah.
but they just really need to like make sure that they were standing by their word and hiring guys. Okay, she's a woman. Okay, that actually says a lot because there's so much grammar really not having
That's a big issue in last where.
so
He needs that promotion.
Okay, about this.
and like I had access to like it's not really need to some of their work for it's company of 15,000
How do I
get this? Historically, not gonna be.
Oh,
It's like they think like, you know.
and like it's like okay, yes, it's an MBA, it's like not but it's like what's that like the fact that this like cannot be disclosed like ever is like so like what does that say about you? That just shows and the majority is so bad.
You will like take away everything that will make it impossible.
I just don't understand. And it should really make me being in each other and like wanting to be that kind of. And I'm like, well, like I want to do this over at CNA, like I don't know, it's very like they're being provided. Like I've been very.
That could be our swing. That's where we have because
You are?
Yeah.
So where do you go? Like,
and
so they kind of took me around.
they're
Which was so nice because I just did recently. They actually like, they explained it in a way that didn't make it stupid. Yeah. Which helps us. And I'm like, thank you for not. That was so cool. Okay, wait, who are you? Yeah. Okay. Like, they're expanding.
Most students that stop.
Because they don't
Mostly living on Sanders Street. And Lincoln.
I'm setting up a meeting.
Yeah, because.
I'm not sure. So that's like.
You also see
These
some.
three.
Oh,
yeah, which is insane. And so, and they're looking to help people.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, okay, this is cool.
Mostly.
That'll be fun then. I've always wanted to do HR at like a really small company. Yes, that's exactly what I do. But more organized.
So.
I don't really
Oh,
I got a meeting.
it's so exciting to do like my
I do.
I think like data analytics, like HR data analytics. And that alone, like also when I was like trying to clean the data, okay, like entries.
It's the more you just.
It was so crazy. It was literally just like retirement trend or like attrition trend.
And.
And that was my entire project, but my computer like literally glitching because the data was so much for like probably 10%, like.
You get our findings.
Yeah, and they have to split it up, so like, top 5 different
Like, in a sense of like.
segments, which practically run a certain business. And they
Can
all-
I love it.
Oh,
I love it so much. It like, I get excited whenever I see it.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. HDR felt so funny. I like sitting, I'm like, I'm having so fun on Canva, it's like, no, that's
Yeah.
actually, but I can HDR, my summer internship. No, wait, that's.
You want me to, our,
It's like, really.
Are you feeling better?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw yours, but.
That's okay.
I'm back, I'm here.
Yeah.
It went really well,
Yeah,
6 people,
getting
from 1 week.
Holy, that's good.
If you didn't.
And like.
So, we're like, so, you know how you said there's like a
Like
bucket?
conversation, like sitting down, and you have to.
Oh, yeah.
And also.
So, like,
That makes it so.
I don't know how you put it.
Especially like all of that.
There's a chance that-
And like, if it.
Juanita? Juanita.
Like,
Oh my god.
I mean, it depends on exactly. But I
they,
did.
like, it's about the, I was like, hi, I'm like, but like, it was just. So.
Just to.
Ellie, can you send me the changes to your report that you want to share? Please.
And I just didn't have time to like.
Oh no, to Ellie.
Like,
There's my echo.
it was just like hearing all those stories and I'm like, yeah, all across the country.
I don't.
Bunch of,
I do wish, you know.
like, they're crazy, I don't believe. Wow. What they're doing. It's safe. Yeah.
They do look good. No, I like somewhere.
Okay. I'm so glad.
Oh,
I live in.
There's so much such a-
I had no reason.
I want.
Yeah, okay, wait, that's so nice. So nice, like when I. My first day, I was kind of.
Oh, there it is.
You can pass the rest.
So, like, you know, yeah. So they had, I keep track of the years, and I'm over the one to do. I'm like, okay, so I was, he was so nice, so it's really nice to do it. We're actually all the members, like, they were actually. I know, it's so hard.
I have a little.
Yeah.
Oh, right, I moved.
I didn't know.
Crossing, so I just walked down here, but I get nice.
I remember I had some like interviews for like the gym people and I literally like, I think I did whatever, I was like, you know, I think that you got this. Personally, let me just work on that one guy because I did not really. Like, I know, every interview he was saying was like, it was just going over my head. I don't
You were wearing scrubs because you get farms.
like, we visited.
Alright.
Yeah, CPA, he was like this CFO for huge. And that's right. He was moving from somewhere to the next stage. This is why it's like a.
I already. So much.
I need to. I'm like, you're over, you're.
I'm very excited because I think it will reveal.
No, we're
Oh, I didn't. We're not. We're not.
Yeah. First, you walk in, walk straight. I mean, it was just.
Minimum 5 minutes.
Don't worry, like, you know what you're gonna expect, like, you're gonna think, like, you know, but I'll like,
It either talking like, you know, it's not that right.
We basically just picked this.
We have
On your website. I just all like.
Let me know if my changes make sense.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh, another thing I think about HDR. is
yeah,
they-
look at him,
in-
look at his picture, so happy. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically we have design issues, I will try to get.
So like, they had a bunch of things
And we
like,
have like.
so much money to like do field trips, like,
And ourselves.
and you're over, and it's like only open for engineering.
They're also.
And then,
There's
my mom, like, she went in their grade, like, their side, like, it was so great.
Tuesday, so you know about the whole thing about denying teachers and stuff.
Our bosses
Oh,
are
yeah,
like.
that's.
Like also SAU, like
And then
I
all I'm like, I have.
I was
It's like
looking
a-
upstairs, then SJP walked in, and then they were like, yeah, and then I'm so glad she's like, no,
Okay.
yeah, it's scan studies, so she was like, I never had it. And that's so bad. I believe it's actually like, the second floor paid.
Yeah, now, forever home.
Like the doors are fast. Like, they're like, yeah, you know, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so that's really creating I got done with the L, let us go.
no. She did. Oh, I see.
It's a high level.
I said this.
What's your word? Oh. With a cell, so.
I don't know.
Also, I'll show you the office. You know, I know.
I love your, like, I mean, that.
I could choose all the changes on it, so because I didn't know what you wanted, what time they said it's in, I think, buffalo chicken is like a very classic thing, except and I'm like. Something being like, I'm sick, they're like.
Oh, so you have a position. When you're just.
I'll upload a video of you me laughing. Coffee, coffee, coffee. Like sticky.
Parents who were on station. But thank you for clarifying those. You're the expert in the. I'm the fan.
So just like that. Less than that was the study. That's really good. But it's not really like the whole what's happening. Or is it like 15 or something? And then there's like those around. I know. I think.
Kevin?
Do you plan on speaking?
Is it over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I remember you saying. No, but I don't feel like
There's like.
You do love it.
I just.
So hard to get it open in your heart.
Oh, no.
Nobody else survived. That's just not. This is kind of sad.
Yes, I told them, I said, hey, you should bring, just like joking, like.
Yeah.
The one that, and they were just like, oh, it's not. And I was like, you're probably getting this right over there.
Really? Okay, I'll do it right now.
Like me, and like.
Especially the garbage. They do that.
Like, what are they like?
Like, but that's.
Oops, sorry.
No, absolutely, I don't like. So we didn't actually read it there.
But I.
It was like, I always. Because like, we just started, housing, we were 25 of these ones. That's why they said these are housing, but.
It was so red.
I was like, I was. You know, it was like.
Like how it red, I was like.
Which is like student, but it was the average. Yeah,
Yes. Okay. Here.
Yeah, just love what they use. I'll be a bit. You're present, not only it's actually in real life. It's a website. Oh, it's just, it's,
What is she?
that presentation. So if you just love the web page, so we just, oh, man.
There's.
I'm chilling. You're chilling. Fernando.
Oh, yeah, like you. That's maybe. All of the strong. I love ski up too. No,
There's Ellie, and then you have Fernando, Nandini. Oh, Fernando was.
The meeting has been called to order for Student Senate Business Meeting, October 10th, 2024. Director of Administration Kelly Gonzalez will be doing a roll call.
Vice President Ramirez,
Here.
Chief Ostek.
Here.
Director Nguyen. Director Lasso.
Here.
Director Mai. Director Hammond. Coordinator Irizarry Gums.
Here.
Senator Roxy. Senator Norby. Senator Jimenez Avalos. Senator Calderon Palacios.
Here.
Senator Benitez.
Here.
Senator John. Senator Brady. Senator Gomez.
Here.
Senator Hirschbaum Harding.
Here.
Senator Smith. Senator Rangel. Senator Wong,
Here.
Senator Rye,
Here.
Senator Valladares,
Here.
Senator Piper,
Here.
Senator Lopez.
Here.
Awesome. Our first item of business is approval of the agenda. Is there any corrections to the agenda? Senator Calathon Palacios
Speaking of the new agenda or the old agenda?
for the new agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to have a secret ballot for EDVAR 24-25-09 letter of immunity.
Is there a second for a secret ballot for the resolution SR 24-25-009 letter of unity and support? A secret ballot. Is there a second? Senator Rye?
Point of clarification, is
Yeah.
that one on the agenda already?
The SR letter of unity and support has already been on the agenda. Yes. Has been seconded by Senator Rye. Is there any discussion on a secret ballot?
Which one is the one that was sent?
Sure. Point of information, I just like to share for new senators, especially secret ballot, will involve, writing your vote on note cards, which will then be collected in secret, it's anonymous, who votes for what, and then that isn't counted.
And secret ballot is on the fact sheet. If you guys want to look through it.
Give us a second.
Is there any discussion for secret ballot for letter of unity and support? In order to have a secret ballot, it requires a 2/3 majority vote. Now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor to do a secret ballot, please raise your placards. All those opposed, please raise your placards. All those abstain, please raise your placards. Senator Rangel, are you questioning,
Nope.
oppose, or abstain?
Abstain.
Abstain, okay. Yeah, okay, the secret ballot for letter of unity and support has passed, for secret ballot. Is there any corrections to the agenda? Senator Rye,
I motion to change, insert petition review, change, Senator Lopez and change it to Senator Rye.
Senator Rye. Is there a second? Senator Calathon Palacios. Is there any discussion?
What is the motion?
The motion is to strike Senator Lopez and then add Senator Rye for the certification of review. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Then, in the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Is there any discussion on the approval of the agenda? Senator Valladares,
Can I motion to add the resolution longer library access for students?
that in order to add a resolution, you have to suspend the rules. And the rules are in the fact sheet about which rules to suspend.
Point of information, yeah, rules can be suspended, you just need to make a motion to suspend.
On the rules.
Which rules?
Motion to suspend the policy index point 2, section 4.3 and by law chapter 6.3E to add SR 24-25-011 to the agenda.
Is there a second to suspend the rules?
Point of information, what rules are we suspending? I know you said the specific ones, but what rules
Yes.
are they actually?
There are right here. The specific rules. on the fact sheet, and it's on the policy index as well as the bylaws. Senator Calathon Palacios?
For clarification, both policy units and SGA bylaws?
Yes, that is correct. Is there any further discussion? Is there a second to suspend the rules to add the resolution? Seconded by Senator Calathon Palacios. Is there now a period? No, now we all go to a period of voting. It requires a 2/3 majority vote to suspend the rules. All those in favor, please raise your placards. Three. All those opposed, please raise your placards. All those abstain, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the motion to suspend the rules fails. Oh, it passes? Oh, okay. In the opinion of the chair, the suspension of the rules is adopted. Senator Calathon Palacios?
Can I make a motion to make a change in the budget chair agenda?
Yes, you. What is that change?
Because that I had a meeting with Drew today, can I change it to, I had a meeting with Drew October 3rd? Actually, point of information, we never added the other resolution to the agenda.
Okay.
We just motioned to suspend the rules.
Oh, that is so good. Thank you for pointing that out. People stop
Point.
listening.
We are still within this motion to amend that. And I recommend that you seek unanimous consent to make that change.
Hmm.
And bypass the vote. If there are no objections, you can just you can change it. So you can ask for objections, and if there are no objections, the chair is allowed to change.
Senator Benitez?
Point of proposal objections to what? To adding those resolutions or?
In this context, the amendment to the report. The report about the changing it from meeting with Drew on
Okay.
today to October 3rd,
Okay.
just because it's not substantial.
I thought we were talking about adding the resolution, or has the resolution been?
The resolution has not yet been added,
Yeah.
but the motion, the rules were suspended and then a new motion began with the change to the report.
Sounds good. So we're on to the motion to change budget committee chairs.
It's dumb, you missed it. Keep going. Keep going, stop.
Okay. Had a meeting with Drew on Monday, on October 3rd. Yeah. Is there a second? Senator Rai, is there any discussion? Now I'm seeking unanimous consent to strike today at 5 p.m. to October 3rd.
Yeah, and then you can do it, as long
can
as,
do it.
as long as no one shouts out,
Yeah.
you make the change without the.
Okay. Is there any corrections to the agenda? Senator Valadares?
Can I motion to add the resolution longer library access for students to the agenda?
Is there a second? Senator Gomez? And then now we're on to a period of discussion. Now we're on to a period of voting to add support for longer library operation hours. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. And then in the opinion of the chair, the resolution has been added. Is there any corrections to the agenda? Senator Rye,
I motion to add Director of Finance YC to the roll.
to the roll call. Is there a second? Senator Calathon Palacios. Is there any discussion? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting for director, to add Director of Finance to the roll call. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, Director of Finance has been added to the roll call. Is there any further corrections to the agenda? Senator Rye.
I motion to strike September 26th and change it to October.
So, is there a second to add October 10th? Senator Rangel, is there any discussion? Now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. Then all those opposed, please raise the placards. In the opinion of the chair, the motion has been adopted. Is there any corrections to the agenda? Senator Calathon Palacios.
I'm thinking a motion to strike Nathan Higginson from the guest speaker.
Yes. Is there a second? Senator Rye. Now we're on to a period of discussion. If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. Wow. Then all those opposed, please raise your placards. And then in the opinion of the chair, the guest speaker has been struck from the agenda. Is there any corrections to the agenda? Senator Calathon Palacios.
What a clarification is, I'm gonna mispronounce her name, I apologize. But you're seeking to, for the appointment of Traffic Appeals Commission, Haroon Sheikh, are they here today?
Yes.
Okay, then I motion to add the appointment of Traffic Appeals Commission, Haroon Sheikh. And again, I apologize for mispronouncing your name.
Is there a second to add the appointment for Traffic Appeals Commission, Senator Valladares? And then is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the appointment for Traffic Appeals Commission has been adopted. Senator Benitez?
Personal privilege,
Yeah.
we have a mic.
Oh, there's
Why-
mics
why-
literally on every single table. There's one down there, there should be two on this row and one here. We're I guess there's two here now, but there is one down.
You guys are speaking kind of quietly.
Sorry.
Is there any corrections to the agenda? Chief of Staff Ostick?
Something I'd like to raise is that there was another resolution sent out last night that hasn't been discussed yet.
Senator Rangel?
Yeah, Jess Fernandez, who is the WGEC director, she made a resolution last night. So could I motion to put that in the to the agenda today?
To Can you suspend the rules to add the resolution on the agenda?
It's already been suspended,
Oh,
so.
Is there a second to add the resolution? Senator John? Now we're on to a period of voting, or period of discussion to add the resolution. If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the resolution has been added to the agenda. Senator Calathon Palacios,
I'm seeking a motion to have a secret ballot for SR 2425-012 Agency Core Values Purchases.
is there a second to have a secret ballot? Senator Rye. Now we're on to a period of discussion to have a secret ballot. Senator Rangel,
Is there a reason for all these secret ballots?
Senator Calathon Palacios,
I just think it's a way to respect everyone's opinions here towards whatever they vote. So, yeah.
Senator Rangel,
If you are in Senate and you still cannot respect other people's opinions, that is on you and not for the rest of the Senate.
is there further discussion on the motion to do a secret ballot for the resolution SR 2425-012? Senator John? Oh,
Sorry, point of information. This is just to vote it in, to put it on today's agenda
to have a secret ballot for the resolution.
for the resolution to be
Yes.
put on the agenda.
Mm,
No information.
When we discuss it and we vote for it.
It's secret, nobody's
Oh, okay.
that's what we're voting for, if you want to do secret, or if you want like just regular Senate rules where we just all vote.
Sorry, thank you.
Is there any discussion for the secret ballot? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. 2. All those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, secret ballot has failed. Is there any corrections to the agenda? If there's no further corrections, now we're on to a period of voting on the agenda. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. The approval of the agenda, in the opinion of the chair, the approval of the agenda has passed. Our next item of business is reading and approval of the old minutes. Is there any corrections to the previous minutes? If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the previous minutes have been adopted. Our next item of business is open forum. Is there anyone here for open forum? Awesome. There's some mic.
Hi, everybody. My name is Madeline St. Clair. I'm Assistant Director of Basic Needs and Innovation in the Durango's Advancement and Support Hub office, Dash. So I want to talk to you all about JED Campus, which is a new initiative at UNO this year. So just an introduction, the Dean of Students had proposed this to Chancellor Lee, and we were approved for funding for this project. Myself and Dr. Bridget Riles are the two co-leads, and then we do have a graduate assistant, Mari Elena, who is half with us and then also half with Campus Rec and Wellness, starting up some peer mentor wellness coaches. I'm not gonna play the video because I feel like you guys can maybe watch it at a different time. It's 5 minutes, but it kind of explains what the JED Foundation was founded on. And their son, this family's son, his name was Jed, and he died by suicide in, I think, 1999. And so the family decided to start this foundation in order to help young adults, young people with mental health. So in high schools and in college. So JED Campus is a 4-year collaboration between JED and then UNO, and they'll offer experts. They are offering assessments, learning opportunities over the next 4 years for us to know what we're doing really well in terms of mental health and well-being on campus, but then also know what we're not doing well so that we can improve upon that. The most important thing that I think I can say tonight is that the main focus is that this is everyone's responsibility. It's not just on CAPS. It's not just on one division or one department. It's on all of us in order to make mental health a priority and take care of everyone on campus. So this is their comprehensive approach. They adopted it from the United States Air Force. And so these are kind of the areas that we'll be working on over the next 4 years. And it's all about decreasing risk factors and increasing protective factors. I do want to say that, like, I know some people might ask why now, and it's all about prevention. It's not a reaction to anything that's happened on campus. Some campuses have, joined JED Campus because of something that's happened on campus, but we're very lucky that UNO is really wanting to take this preventative role for mental health and overall well-being. So we do have a task force. Kevin is on the task force, and then Talia is she in student gov?
Yeah, she is.
Yes, okay. And we're hoping to actually have a student advisory board within the task force as well, so that we can have more student voices heard about this matter. But these are just some of the areas that are represented on the task force. And so the 4 years broken down a little bit, this year is maybe the busiest. So we're doing a baseline assessment, which the task force is filling out. So there's like 250 plus questions, and it's all about what we have going on campus. And then we also have the Healthy Minds Student Survey, which I'll talk about in just 1 second. Next semester, JED Campus will bring some experts to campus and have their site visit. They'll be having student focus groups, they'll visit CAPS, and then we'll convene as a task force with these experts to create the strategic plan. And then years 2 and 3 are all about implementing that strategic plan and learning together. Year 4 is about evaluation. So we'll do another assessment that's very similar to this baseline assessment that we're completing right now. And then we'll have another student survey. And then we'll build that sustainability plan, because it's really important that this just doesn't end in 4 years. It keeps going. And so that it can go on years and years after all of us are maybe gone. So Healthy Minds Study, this is the largest survey of mental health for college students in the United States. And so when our survey is over, we'll not only be able to get de-identified data for UNO students, but we'll be able to compare it to national data. So if you haven't checked your email, which hopefully you are all very engaged students and check your email daily, You should have gotten the invitation to take the survey on October 7th, which was Monday. It's really important that we get this data. We also have really cool incentives. So if you take it, you enter your name in for a chance to get an iPad or AirPods or one of 5 wellness baskets, which will have a lot of goodies in them. It takes about 25 to 30 minutes, so I'm really sorry that it's long, but I promise there's good incentives. So again, how can you help us? Responsibility is on all of us, and so we're all taking an active role, responsibility and accountability. The survey has launched, so if you could share widely, everyone has their own personal link in their email, so don't share that link. Otherwise, you probably won't get that incentive. Follow updates, you'll probably get them in the Bullseye instead of the Map Daily, social media, and then we'll have a website on UNO's overall site. And then connect with us, myself, RGA, Dr. Riles, or Kathy Pettit, to give us your feedback, your concerns, your questions, and ideas. And if this is a passion area or you're wanting to learn more, you can definitely just connect and we can talk. Any question? Can I open it for questions? Okay, any questions? Easy peasy. Okay, so JED Foundation, you can follow them. We've been joking around that they actually also have a Pinterest. So if you're still into Pinterest, you can follow JED Foundation on Pinterest. And then you can connect with us. We do have an email, UNO JED Campus. And then social media, it will be posted on the Dash's social media, CAPS, and then UNO Rec and Wellness. Thank you.
Is there anyone here for open forum? Is there anyone here for open forum?
We are, but we're waiting on Jess. She said that she's gonna
If
She's being edited.
we're waiting on Jess, a
Not
possibility is to
Later.
But she's speaking at another time. She's not speaking during the order.
not during open forum.
Just ignore
Okay,
us.
okay. So is there anyone here for open forum before we end open forum? We don't do voting. This was it, okay. So in the opinion of the chair, open forum is closed. Okay. Our next item of business is reports from officers. May we have Regent Adidam's report?
Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. I see a lot of new faces in the crowd, so thank you for joining us in Student Government Association. Really appreciate it. But I have a couple of things I wanted to talk about. First is the Academic Resources Survey. When I filled out this agenda, it was, I want to say Monday, and we had 87 responses. And I am so happy to share that we have actually surpassed our goal of 200, and we have around 202 responses. So I just want to thank you all if you filled it out. That is greatly appreciated. If you haven't yet done it, we have flyers at the front. Please fill it out. You'll get entered into a raffle prize for a $50 gift basket. And it'll just help us assess our understanding and usefulness of academic resources. And it's so vital to make sure that if we are funding these resources, that we use them. So I had a couple of fun meetings. First was the energy break event that we had on Tuesday. And that's essentially where we got the majority of our responses. And then I actually spoke to Faculty Senate on Wednesday, wanting to inform them about Student Government Association, some of the initiatives and resolutions that we've passed, and also just start forming that connection with them. I know I've been in student government for the past 4 years, and I've never really spoken to Faculty Senate before. So hoping that we continue and build upon that relationship. And then this morning we had our town hall. Thank you if you attended. I thought it was a pretty great presentation, just giving you guys an overview of our goals and what we want to accomplish, and then how student government works. that's essentially it. I apologize for missing last week. I was at a board meeting in Kearney, went well, but yeah, excited to be back in Omaha.
Is there any questions for Regent Adidam? No. And then for my report, so the idea for being the tiebreaker for committee's meeting came from Student Senate, since the vice president is the tiebreaker for the resolutions being discussed in Student Senate. So I decided to bring this up to the SGA Executive Committee to see like what are their thoughts. And then ultimately we did decide that the vice president shall be the tiebreaker for committee meetings if a resolution or for the resolutions for rules and budget, since they do have to vote on a resolution to be implemented on the floor. And then since circuit meetings are meant for professional development, I would like to just like use like some of the money just to provide in like some more like guest speakers, probably like from outside the community, either like bringing some food in. And I know we do have around like 1,200 in that professional line item. So just like being able just to like use this money for circuit meetings. And then Senator Norby and I are working on the attendance and mental health policy just to see like what we can do to improve the attendance policy here in Senate. Some of the things that we want to do is like, how can we implement mental health here in Student Senate? The attendance policy has already like been created, so we just have to create the resolution and then present it to Rules Committee to see if they want to present it on the floor. And then for the next circuit meeting for next week on October 17th, I've been communicating with Garrett Gassman to do some professional headshots for us. I am still communicating with him to see if this is like for sure something that we're able to do. So I definitely do recommend for the next circuit meeting is just to wear professional attire for the circuit meeting to take some professional headshot photos. And then I do want to contact with Denise just because regarding like the University of Nebraska, Omaha, as well as the Chessman & Co., just to see like there are some things I do want to present to the student body just to see like more transparency regarding these policies. And so I am going to be speaking with Denise as well as Paige and Sierra will be attending that meeting, and then some more updates regarding with the Chessman & Co.'s partnership. And then I do want to do a resolution workshop either on October 25th or during like the last circuit meeting of this month to see like what we can do to like, or like just like for the new senators or like for anyone from the student body to see like how to write a resolution for the students. So that's something that I really do want to focus on in the future. So that is my report. Is there any questions regarding my report? Now, may we have Chief of Staff's Ostick's report? Oh.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, just a little point of order real quick. I believe on the executive team that we kind of agreed to talk about really just one of the things in our reports and then to go through the rest of them. And it doesn't have to be just one, but just in the interest of respecting everyone's time tonight. As far as that goes, SABC preparations have begun. We're looking at a date likely in mid to late February for that meeting to be taking place. And the other sort of aspect here, this isn't on the report, but I think it's important. We've beginning some pushback on spending. Some agencies have been attempting to spend funds on things that was actually allocated to them through SABC, such as the parenting program and perhaps menstrual supplies as well. And so that's just something to be on the vigilant lookout for. These are funds that were allocated to them through SABC. And it's kind of just troubling to see that roadblocks are being put up when this has been funding that's actually been allocated through our proper processes. And that's my report. Also taking questions.
Our next item of business is reports from executives. May we have Director of Administration Gonzalez report.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to focus mainly on I'm going to focus mainly on the launching of Illuminate points. So these are personally known as dedication points, and they are on the policy index. Everything that is like, I guess, really set in stone is on that policy. I made a doc, and I will share this with you guys, just kind of explaining how they work and how I would like them to function. And it kind of goes into detail. It doesn't go into massive detail, and I will fix that. As of now, dedication points are a way to have you guys get involved with the UNO campus, your community, and also with the agencies and other organizations that are part of UNO. That may look like attending events or perhaps creating resolutions that will affect or impact the UNO community in a positive manner. That may also look like connecting more with the people in your colleges and making your name known in your respective college. Director Nguyen shared this slideshow with me, and it is full of agency events. If you want to scroll through, I can also give this out to you guys so that you can look through this and, be aware of everything that you can help with or attend. There is more to come with these, of course, but right now you have your punch cards. Since we're starting so late in the semester, you have 1 point already. And the more you do, the more you'll earn, essentially. So it's just a way to encourage you guys. I also want you to know that they are mandatory. You have 3 per semester, so 6 in total. So please put in the effort, and then if you need the help, let me know and we can make it work. Any questions? Senator Hirschbaum Harding?
Thank you. If we have done events already or volunteering that would have previously counted as dedication points, can we talk to you to ask if they can be retroactively added?
We can make that work. My only request is that I have somebody that I can contact to also confirm that those things happened. Just somebody that was there, perhaps the organizer. That's what I want to base myself off of. Honor system, but I also want something to base it on. Any other questions? Okay, awesome. Thank you.
May we have Director of DEIA Nguyen's report?
Okay, so I'm gonna go over the 3 agency monthly reports. So if Vice President Ramirez can open FGSA's report first. So last month, they did a lot of great things. So they held their board meeting on the 6th. They also had a social on the 13th. They also held their art club collab workshop on the 18th, which was fun. And they also did their Evil Eye bracelet making on the 30th. So I saw a couple of you there. So that was fun. This month, they have things planned. So besides their board meetings, their general meeting there'll be a presentation skills with UNO Speech Center. And then on the 30th, there's going to be a workshop. I'm not going to try to pronounce that because I don't. But and then the candidate forum, which I'll keep emphasizing, it's next Tuesday. It's all the agencies are organizing the event. So please come and support your agencies and also be civically engaged. And then what is needed from the Senate and Executive Board, just trying to show up to these events. And then for WGEC's report, are you able to go to the next report, please?
GSA's report.
WGEC. Okay, so they also did a lot of things last month. So they had a partnership with Public Health Student Association making period kits for Dodge Housing. Their clothesline project is up at the Chris Library, so please head over there and see. It's going to be up for the rest of October. They accepted 3 new board members. They wrote the letter of commendation for the GSRC staff, made a TikTok, and then just a couple of other notes for last month. And then this month, they have a lot of things coming up, which is highlighted in the agency events PowerPoint. So they have a collaboration with Students of Justice for Palestine for reproductive health in Gaza art workshops. And then Your Voice Your Choice coming up on October 24th, and then the candidate forum again, October 15th. Please RSVP. And then what is needed from Senate is looking to write resolutions against or support of ballot initiatives, such as no on 434, repeal on 435, yes on 436, 437, 438, and 439, and then support the agencies at the candidate forum, please. And then lastly, the QTS report. So this month, Lawrence is finishing up the final draft of the resolution. The Rules Committee is working with him right now, and then all he needs is respect and consideration of the resolution from the Senate.
Things for Director. Then may we have the Director of Finance, Lexi, please?
Absolutely. So this past week, I had a couple, so this is my first official Senate meeting as Director of Finance. So I had a meeting with Sierra, kind of just going over some, things, learning more things about the role that I am in right now. I had a meeting with the budget chair, kind of going over what we both kind of expect out of each other for the coming year. I had a meeting with the FGSA director. It is my plan to meet with all of the agency directors, hopefully before I have to make SABC decisions, just to get to know them better. I had a meeting with Paige today, and then Nate and I went to a Pocket Prairie presentation this past Tuesday in the CEC. I would like to note, I skipped over the allocation of 36,000 if a new policy goes into effect. I'm not going to touch on that specifically, but I would like to remind the Senate and everyone in here that SGA is still going through a period of an audit still. So we need to just keep that in mind as we continue through that. We still do not know a date of when we are gonna hear anything from the auditors. So we hope that that's tomorrow, but we just don't know when that day is going to be yet. So any questions? Awesome.
We have the Director of Leadership Development, Lawson.
Hello, everybody. So today was our FYLC ambassador elections. 6 people spoke. I'm very proud of all of them. They showed great interest in fixing some of the problems that happen here at UNO. And I still have, they voted for, or they did a rank vote for what was the strongest to the least strongest candidate's presentation. I will meet with Paige on Monday to just do some final touches to the decision. And then I hope to announce the candidates sometime next week. So that's it.
Is there any questions for Director Lasso? May we have Director of Marketing, Mize report?
You know who I am. I do the social media. I posted a lot this week. If you haven't liked it, go like the post. If you have, like I said, if you haven't followed the Instagram, follow the Instagram. Yeah, that's a member spotlight post this week. Gonna do another one tomorrow and probably another one Monday, and that'll be the last one, hopefully. What else? I'm also working with trying to get set up a meeting with the campus lawyer, Jacob Stodola, to get a legal services post. We'll see how that goes. By the way, I'm currently trying to work in the first steps of getting more artwork in Milo Vale. We haven't really gotten that far yet, but we'll see how that goes. Any questions? Hopefully not. This is very straightforward.
Awesome. Since Director of Recruitment Hammond is not here, this is her report. May we have Coordinator of Student Wellness, Irizarry Gums report?
Yes. Well, of course, I would encourage all you all to do read my full report. Today, I'm gonna go mainly over the survey results that I collected over the last couple of weeks. Today, we'll be presenting a snippet of those results, and hopefully, it reveals a lot of, sorry, I'm too close to the mic. A lot of the aspects of how the unit community is doing in our community. So today will be basically all this project is connected to related students organizations that will be academic to RSOs. Next slide, please. So how this came to be, basically this summer, next slide, please. Actually, would it be easy if I go up there?
What did you say?
If I go up there and I switch to
Yeah,
slide?
you can, yeah.
So as student wellness coordinators, I was given two main tasks. It was, of course, to create the student resource guide, but also to find gaps in gaps in the student resources in accordance to the 8 dimensions of wellness. The one is to complete this task is just how do we actually do it? How do we actually accomplish this goal? And how do we go about it in a way where we not only reflect our values here in student government, but also the student body? And of course, that solution was to, of course, collaborate with the UNO student community. Of course, the student UNO community is very broad. We have international students. We have many other communities in UNO, but I decided to focus on our 2 largest and the ones that we most look alike. And that would be, of course, our student organizations and Greek life communities. Not only structure, but the way that they function. They are very similar to us, and it's easier to collaborate and kind of hear out their issues and understand them. In the end, when it comes to student organizations, they're focused on mainly what they run on. Their communities are maybe, if it's a philosophy club, it will be philosophy mainly. When it comes to Greek life, it's more broad. It's about getting students into their family chapter and being able to associate with them in a more deeper level than it will be with student organizations. And mostly they associate themselves to be more of a family relationship than just we're here to talk about a topic. It's all about each other, and it's all about the organization instead of just one main topic. I was not very fluent in what Greek life was all about, so I went to SLI Noah Long. He not only is experiencing Greek life, but also in our student government. He's been still part of a Greek life community, and he was part of student government as the position that Nate holds today. He not only helped me understand Greek life, but understand their issues a little bit deeper, and we'll go into that in the next slide. At the end of the day, student organizations, their issues that they mainly found when I talked to them one-on-one in person was that they feel that there's a lot of restrictive policy that restricts them. They feel excluded from important conversations that change the way that they can function here at UNO. They feel like UNO is pushing them away from campus and more moving away from them than with them. And they felt that SGA is more becoming of a hidden house organization than a student organization that works for them. With Greek life, they have a restriction where they're categorized in the same category as student organizations, even though they're widely different from student organizations. And they are limited by the tier 3 category of a student organization. This prevents them from being able to improve the full influence that a Greek life organization could do into our campus, limits the ways that they can express themselves as a Greek life community. They also feel that is pushing them away. They also feel that they're being excluded from important conversations. And also they feel limited in how they communicate with SGA. Actually, I was let know that the last meaningful conversation that SGA had with Greek life was 8 years ago. And that's something that is not only alarming, but concerning. Even though I had these conversations in one-on-one real person, of course, it could not end here. And I would need a lot more larger community and this in numbers so you guys could see our disconnect with our broader UNO student community. So I employed a survey where we had skills questions and open-ended questions to assess our relationship with student organizations here at UNO, and also the student organization's relationship with the university. We received 120 responses in a wide variety of student organizations, and they are categorized as student organizations because Greek life and student orgs are categorized in the same manner by UNO policy. Students mostly feel disconnected from SGA. This is something that is alarming, and when it comes to if we are the student body, well, if we are the student voice, how do we speak for the student body if we are not connected with them? Also, they didn't feel large majority, they didn't feel heard by SGA. If they don't feel heard by when they come for us with their issues, how do we exactly say that we're making resolutions that reflect their values and reflect what they need for this campus? Also, they don't feel understood. We had a lot of student organizations come here, pass resolutions, and once we do, they don't feel like we understood the full weight of their problems. And the way that we went about resolving their problems didn't feel really reflective with the concerns that they had. Also, they don't really feel seen. It seems like SGA doesn't really look for issues, but waits for the issues to come knocking at the door. And that's something that not only in person I got to hear from them, but also in the survey got reflected, and also in the open-ended questions that we'll go over in another night when we go full in depth on the results of the survey. When it comes to the university, a lot of student organizations, they feel connected. Thanks to the hard work of all student organizations, leaders, executive teams, and outreach committees. In the end of the day, this is something to be celebrated and something that I'm very proud to hear. But in the end of the day, we do still have students that either feel neutral in the connection with UNO or just don't feel that connected at all. Also, we have a 50, in a sense, in a 50 spread on how they feel heard by the university. And it's something that we should pay attention to, in the sense that most of them don't feel like UNO is hearing out their issues and their concerns when it comes to their student organizations, communities, and how they move throughout this university and the issues that they face and the issues that they would like to see resolved. Also, they don't feel like we have a 50-50 spread here, but you could say actually majority, that they don't feel like the university understands their problems here in the university. And that's something that is a note, something that maybe we should communicate more with our administration here on campus. Also here, we see that a lot of students don't feel seen by the university. Even though we can see a 50-50 spread, you could say, in the end of the day, a lot of students don't feel seen in this university, and the more they don't feel seen, the more they feel like they could just go somewhere else and feel at home in another university. And if we have a concern of students dropping out or not having real enrollment, then this is something that we should take a note of. When it comes to the student resource guide, most students did feel that is necessary, and I do like that, and we are working hard on it. And Anthony Ma is working on making that draft for SGA that will be presented in a future SGA meeting. In the end, where do we go from here? A lot of students, when I talk to them in person and by the survey, feel that there's in a sense, no hope in the future direction of UNO. A lot of them feel that we're evolving more to be in a commuter college than a community, a commuter college and a college centered in student community, and one that accepts their students here to feel at more of home, but they feel more like they want this not to be home, but just be another place to get their learning and then go back home and associate with their family members in another place. We, SGA, the more we connect with community and these communities, and the more we hear out their issues, and the more we represent those issues, we can make those students feel more at home. We can be a torch of light and of hope for these students and for our student organizations that fight so hard to keep students here and feeling at home. I will talk more about this in my resolution tonight, but I hope these results do bring to light an issue that we have here, not only in SGA, but in this campus. Thank you for hearing me out.
Our next item of the agenda is reports from committees. May we have Budget Committee Chair Escalaton Palacios report.
All right, so the first thing is I would like to connect with agencies and ask what their needs are, specifically the directors. And then also I'll be sending out an email pretty soon here introducing ourselves, who's in budget committee and who's the chairs, just so they know like who we are and all that. And then I reconnected with Nate at our committee meeting, and then he shared about the policy changes towards the budget, and I shared that with our other committee members, and he also sent like a little spiel about it. So we will be reviewing that pretty soon here. And then specifically myself, I want to look into the math program grant and see if that's applicable for our agencies. And then also last week on Thursday, I had a meeting with Drew, just talking about what expectations we had for ourselves, just talking about transparency and trust and respect. And then also we talked about what our committee members had expectations for myself as chair, and then expectations for our director here, and then what both the director and I had expectations for our members.
Is there any questions for the budget committee chair? May we have the civic engagement committee chair Piper's report?
Hey guys, so I haven't really done much yet, but I had a meeting with Tony Manette to kind of get the ball rolling on voter information events. Hopefully like doing a table event to just get people to like understand voter information instead of just being like, have you registered to vote? Because I know everybody's already getting harassed about that by strangers, so I'm also not going to be a stranger and do that. But I'm gonna have another meeting with Tony Winnet about that and kind of just getting an information sheet on that. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of my report. Thank you.
Is there any questions for the civic engagement committee chair Piper? No. May we have the DEIA committee chair's Rain Girls report?
Hello, happy Thursday. I'm so excited for the weekend. Yes, I am DEI committee chair. Some of the things that we've been talking about in our committee has been just rebuilding our relationship with the agencies. I know last year there was a lot of tension between student government and the agencies. So we're looking to repatch those relationships and kind of work with them, because we want agencies to be connected to student government, so we can advocate for their needs, and see what ways we need to help. We included agencies in the town hall meetings. I know Lawrence for QTS came to speak at the town hall meeting today, and they did a really great job. We're trying to find more ways for the Senate to be more involved with working in agencies such as volunteering and events. Right now, especially with the closure of the Gender Sexuality Resource Center, we're trying to see what we need to plan and where do we need to start, kind of building from the ground up. And I ask that everyone from the Senate be very supportive of those agencies and kind of making them feel like they have a place to speak, they have a place to go seek support from the Senate, and that should be it. Any questions? Period.
May we have outreach committee's chair Hirschbaum Harding's report?
Hey. So I was actually not at our meeting. It was Rosh Hashanah, so I was off Rosh Hashanah. And I did set an agenda for them, so I sent them some information to look over, and they got back to me about it. They were seemingly very productive. I felt very proud. So part of it was I was contacted by another senator about an organization called Free the Facts, and so we were kind of looking at how do we want to collaborate with them? What kind of collaboration is that? When might be a good time for it, you know? So I was having them look into the organization and just formulate some opinions about what that might look like. I also know that they were brainstorming just other collaborative efforts that we can make or other things that we as outreach committee would like to do. So I got a nice little list on things from my other committee members and the people who are helping chair that. So sounds like they had a wonderful time, and hopefully there will be also an upcoming resolution once we determine more information about that collaboration. Just since Free the Facts is not a campus organization, we'll have to make a resolution for it. So hopefully you'll hear more about that in the future.
Is there any questions? May we have Rules Committee Chair's Rise report?
Hey everyone, during our meeting, we've discussed the resolution that Nate brought up. We are still looking through all the policies and what that exactly entails. So we'll get back to Nate and just back to the Senate in more detail about what that is. We are still waiting on the resolution from QTS Director Lawrence. He did have a meeting with Vice President Ramirez, and from what I know, he's making some changes to the resolution to make it look more like a policy. I was also approached on what conflict of interest entails by Lawrence, and so we are going to be working on that. That's pretty much it.
Any questions? Awesome. May we have the SGA advisors, Paxton's report?
Yeah, I don't have a mic, but I'll talk super quick. So just wanted to say that I'm excited to see some appointments tonight. Thank you very much.
Hello. Okay. I'm excited to see some appointments tonight. I think everyone that's up will be great. And then also just wanted to say the publication board, we are in need of some members. So if you have friends that want to be a part of it, send them my way or Chloe's way, but she's gone for the next week. So yeah, we need people. Please send them my way. And then just finally want to say, keep it up. You guys are doing great. You guys are almost to midterms. Maybe some of you are there, but really just take time, especially fall break, for yourself, relax, rewind, and give yourselves that break that you guys need. But as always, you guys have my email if you ever need anything, or you can find me in my office. Thanks, guys.
Since there's no unfinished business, our next item of business is new business. For our first item of new business, we have the appointment for graduate studies, Mujib John Talpur. Is there a proponent speech? Is there a proponent speech?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to walk there?
Yes.
Yeah, so that all of you can see me, that I'm not an alien, right? Hello, my name is Mujib and I'm a graduate student at Political Science Department, and I'm here to do my proponent speech, if that's what it is called. I'm new to it, so pardon me for that. Anyways, so to ask you in order to vote for me, I'm going to explain about myself, like my background and why do I have this interest in becoming a senator in the student body. Previously, I have already done another master's in international relations. I come from a different country, which is Pakistan. I'm not sure if most of you are aware of that one, but moving on, I have already been involved in my country in such organizations. So I've been part of Pakistan's National Youth Assembly. In my country, I worked with the government over there. I have worked with United Nations in my country on 2 different projects. One of them involved in civic education and voter education, and the other one was basically about the youth's engagement in the policy making in order to make it more viable and feasible for the youth to have their voices heard by the policymakers of the country. So it went into the parliament, and then obviously it was by the United Nations. So it was Youth's National Human Development Report, for which I was also awarded as the most active volunteer award. And other than that, I'm right now involved with the American Red Cross, and I'm with them as the youth engagement lead. And I'm hopeful that, after this speech, I might probably join you as a senator as well. So you do vote for me, please. Yeah, I think that would be pretty much it by my side. And yeah, before I stop talking, I would like to there are a couple of things that I would like to bring into your attention, but before doing that, I might want to learn about how all of this works. Like I said, I'm new, so bear with me. And a couple of things that I would want to bring into your attention. One of them is that I would like to make these policies within the UNO more transparent, more reachable, and streamline some of the policies and the procedures when it comes to when students want to do some sort of, for example, a solidarity walk and stuff like that. So there are so many hoops that one has to cross and then comes to the final decision. So most of the people, and especially when it comes to the students, they just kind of just leave it out, and they just leave it in the lurch and move on. So probably this is one of the things that I would want to bring into your attention, and probably might want to work on it and getting our voices heard in the sense when there are resolutions, and what happens to those resolutions, what happens afterwards, what happens beyond that. So I have heard and learned from a couple of students over here that it ends up at the table of the chancellor, and probably that ends with chancellor's discretion whether to move forward with that resolution or just throw it in the bin, for that matter. Anyways, so my point is that it shouldn't be like that. If a resolution ends up getting at the table of the chancellor, it should become part of the discussion. If it's Board of Regents discussion, and if it's becoming part of Board of Regents discussion, then it should be up to those all members to decide whether this resolution should be going forward or should not be going forward, instead of like just letting it be to one person's, discretion, which kind of seems unfair to me. And other than that, I would also want to talk about like making the policy bit fair when it comes to the students' grading. I've heard that when a student has a problem with their gradings, they could just like apply for the review of that grading. And once they do it, the procedure, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of that, but ultimately it is like totally dependent upon the administration side of like the, revision of that grade and stuff. So my idea is that to make it more balanced while in probably getting student government like body involved in that procedure. So there should be a representative from this body within that whole procedure in order to make that grading review system more balanced and more fair. So this is also one of the other things, but there are many things, so we might have all the time to talk about them. But now that's it, and I hope to get your vote again. Thank you. Yeah, again, if you have any questions, just shoot at them. Shoot at me. Yeah, please, go ahead.
If you were to become appointed as senator, like what is one of your main initiatives?
What is my main initiative? To be honest, to be heard, and there was also, like I said, making it process more transparent, making information more accessible to the students. There are also like many parts of university's policies and information which are not probably available on the website. But if you would go and end up like reading the whole policy document, then you'll find some of those things in the policy document, but not on the website. And when you just go around and asking and, knocking at the doors, people just like don't know it, or even if they do, they just like go on about, it's not there. If it's not there, it shouldn't be in the policy document. If it's there, it should be on the website. And if it's on the website and the policy document, it should get implemented, right? So there are also those things I could just explain them. Yeah, pretty much on I would go with 3 broad terms. Like my focus will be on transparency, accountability, and streamlining and making our voices properly heard, and not just talking and writing and not going beyond that. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Like I said, you.
Is there any discussion for the equipment of the graduates? Senator Rai?
I don't know Muji really that well. But the first conversation I had with him was when he approached me asking what changes he could make and how he could do that as a student. And that's when we started talking about student government. And in that conversation, I learned that he's very passionate about what he wants to do, and he really will ensure that he will make those changes. And I want to just say that he is a very proactive student. He's not reactive. He already has plans set for SGA that I have not even thought about, and I think he will make a great senator.
Is there any other discussion? If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, Mujib has been approved.
Vote for now, and also, if you want to sit in the center section,
So I will wait not to be on session. Okay, I didn't.
And then
yeah, like we have some.
Mujib. Then Mujib. Oh, okay. Okay. Our next item of business is appointment for Student Publication Board, Ryan Hufschner. Is there? Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
It works. Dear student governments and other governing bodies of UNO, I want to start by expressing my gratitude to you for allowing me this opportunity to apply for candidacy of the board of UNO's official publication board, the Gateway. For some background, my name is Ryan Hofschneider, and I am a second-year graphic design student minoring in marketing here at UNO. I am originally from Lincoln and attended Pius X Catholic High School. As for my motivation driving my decision to run for this position, my appreciation for writing and journalism ultimately stems from my love of art. For as long as I can remember, I have always gravitated towards the more creative aspects of my life, and very often found myself experimenting with what exactly can be done with a piece of paper and a pencil in my hand. I have incredibly fond memories of spending hours, even days, of working on colored pencil drawings and making dishes out of clay at Lux Art Center, a local art education hub in Lincoln where I'm from. With this foundation of love for the arts, when high school arrived, my entire perception of the creative process changed. One revelation I had was realizing that art not only had the ability to merely look aesthetically pleasing, but that it also has the power to convey real personal meanings. During my high school years, I competed on my forensics speech team, and that opened so many doors for me. During a speech season, there was such a variety of writing and performance styles at play. We wrote informative and persuasive presentations, cut scripts and books to make manuscripts for dramatic and humorous pieces, as well as many others. When we would go to competition each weekend, I would see all these writers, performers, and activists share their research, experiences, and beliefs through their speeches, their words. It was an incredible experience to think that these immensely talented individuals were my peers. To add on to that experience, I was also lucky enough to be a part of my yearbook staff my senior year. Through this, I was able to interview others, put together stories and captions, and see a whole narrative of a school come together in one collective body of work. I am proud to say that I was a state medalist in journalism with my work in yearbook, but the program gave me much more than that. Being a part of it taught me the power of a story, as well as its ability to connect us as human beings. When we hear of a tragic story, we grieve together. And when we encounter a profound and inspiring narrative, it makes us strive to create positive change in our communities as well. Words are as much of a medium for art as paint on a canvas is. Words have the power to change minds, and as a result, the world. I have garnered a great deal of respect for writers and anyone involved in the writing process for their ability to bring forth new and fresh perspectives into a spotlight. And I would be honored to be a part of the journalistic process here at UNO. Thank you.
There's something there.
Now we're on to a period of discussion for Ryan for the publication board. If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, Ryan has been approved for the Student Publication Board. Our next item of business is appointment for Traffic Appeals Commission, Haroon Sheikh. Is there a proponent speech?
Speech, do you think you can hear me good enough without the mic? Because people say I'm loud.
If we're able to do it, it's just so also there are people on Zoom and we have a YouTube stream.
Right.
It only picks it up if there's like a microphone. It's
Okay.
kind of weird.
Well, forgive me if I'm too loud for the mic. Yeah. Good evening, honorable members of the Student Senate. I am Haroon Sheikh, and today, with the delivery of my speech, I plan to put forward my qualifications to persuade you and get appointed as the latest Traffic Appeals Commissioner at UNO. But before I get into that, I want to talk about why or what got me. This? Hello?
Is it green?
No, absolutely.
Press it again.
Hello? That's better?
It's the other, it's the other way.
Do you want this?
Like this?
Yeah.
That's better. I want to talk about what got me interested in this job. So, as a typical politics lover, I have always loved holding positions of leadership and serving the community. As soon as I joined UNO, I started searching for any student government opportunities I can apply for and to be a part of this group. I was quick to apply for the FYLC, but unfortunately I got denied. So as soon as I got this opportunity, I was quick to apply for it, and here I am today. Now, you might have questions about why you should vote me in, and so I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I am fit for this job. Firstly, I'm a moderate. Today, we find ourselves in a position where people, where it is difficult to find common ground because we are so polarized. Even on issues where we know what the right answer is, we cannot find common ground because people are letting their ego get the best of their conscience, and it's just pushing us further and further away. I, on the other hand, have looked at every issue in my life from an unbiased perspective. Now, I won't say I'm perfect, but I try my best. And from a moderate standpoint, I've understood situations better, and I was good at coming to a solution between the two parties. So I think that is something this job requires, being unbiased. So that's the first reason. Second reason is that I stand for truth and justice. Now, this happened in my 7th grade where a majority of my classmates lied about being late, about why they were late to their class, and they blamed it on the previous teacher, my language arts teacher, that she took way more time than she had. And, that caused a discussion between the teachers, and she was humiliated. She was called out for being unprofessional. But that was a lie, and without solid proof. And after being humiliated by everyone in the faculty, she decided to resign. My classmates too didn't choose to do anything. They just stayed quiet. I was the only one who stood up and spoke the truth. I asked them, I pressed the principal to check the CCTV footage and find out what the truth is. And because of that, I avoided her resignation, and I think I made a difference in her life. Otherwise, she would have lost her job for nothing. And I did this as a 7th grader. So I'm a college freshman now, and I think I'm just better than before. And the third reason is that I've been a leader for a while now. Being the class monitor back in India for 3 consecutive years has really rubbed off on me. And when I came to the United States 2 years ago, I started looking for leadership opportunities again. I was elected as a member of the senior class board in Millard South. I got accepted into the National Honor Society and also got picked by the principal of Millard South to serve on her advisory board. So it hasn't been really very long since I've served in a position of leadership or in any student body. At the end, I just believe that it's a great start to my journey in the student government of UNO, and I hope to find myself at this position as a senator, but this is just a start for me. That's it. Any questions for me?
Now we're on to a period of discussion for the Traffic Appeals Commissioner Haroon. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, Haroon has been appointed for Traffic Appeals Commission. Our next item of business is SR 2425-009, Letter of Unity and Support. Is there a proponent speech?
On August 20th, Chancellor Bennett of UNL announced the closure of the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. It shocked many students who relied on the services and resources provided by the office. Like with the closure of GSRC here, the support provided by the office caused a scattering across the support provided by the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, was scattered across to other offices. However, the scattering of those resources isn't the same as having one location where students can go and where they feel safe and supported. And that's a big issue. DEIA is not just a set of values. It is the foundation that allows people of all backgrounds to come together, work together, and grow together. It is through DEIA that we create spaces that ensure every student feels heard, seen, and respected. These offices, whether at UNL, UNO, UNK, or UNMC, aren't just spaces. These are space heavens where students can feel like they belong. When we lose offices like these, we don't lose just the resources they offer. We lose a place where we can express our identity freely, especially when we are not at home. The Association of Students of the University of Nebraska has been working tirelessly to address this issue and ensure that their student body has the necessary resources and support. They are stepping up when their students need them the most, and it is our duty to step up and stand with them. This resolution is not just a letter of unity and support. It is a call for us to come together as one NU system and recognize that the fight for DEIA is not limited to just one campus. We must stand together to help protect the resources offered to the University of Nebraska students, because at the end of the day, our job is to seek the best interest of the students we serve, whether they're at our respective colleges, at UNO, or across the NU system. I want to clarify, this resolution is not an attack on the administration or a criticism of their decisions, but rather a heartfelt expression of support for the students affected. We understand the complexities and challenges that come with running a university, and we recognize that decisions like these are never made lightly. However, our priority as senators is and always will be the well-being of the student body. This resolution is about showing the students that we hear their concerns, see the concerns, and that we are with them. So by voicing our concerns now and lending our support to the ASUN, we send a loud message out. We send the message that students support DEIA. Inaction is not a choice right now. If we don't act now, we risk finding ourselves at UNO in a similar position. Our unity is our strength. And through this resolution, we start a pathway for conversations and that prioritize student voices in matters that impact the students directly. Let's work together to ensure that every student and the NU system knows that they're not alone, that their voices matter, and that we will protect their fight, and we will fight to protect their right to belong and succeed. Thank you. Can I answer any questions about the resolution itself? Okay.
Is there any discussion on the resolution? Oh, Director Nguyen.
Oh.
No, I just wanted to say thank you to Senator Rye and Senator Palacios for writing this resolution. It's very important for UNO student government to express solidarity with UNL as well, especially since we also had the GSRC closing down. So I want to express my gratitude and thank you.
Is there any further discussion on the resolution? So now we're on a period of secret ballot. Chief of Staff Ostick will be handing out note cards.
You know, if you want.
After you guys made your vote, please hold the note card. Senator John.
Sorry, just point of information. Is there any like specific terminology we should use when writing on this, or just like
Either say
yes, no?
yes or no or abstain.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
All right, do all our senators received a note card? All right, awesome. So yeah, something identifiable as a yes or a no. Or if you leave it blank, I guess that's an abstain.
What about an I and E?
What?
I and E? AYEs.
Yeah, I works good too also. Yeah, waiting for Shani to come back to the bag also. I think I know where she went. Okay, she's on her way with the bag right now. This is breaking news. And, yeah. She will shortly return and then I will go around and collect. Or maybe she will, because she got the box, so. It's kind of fun to collect. There she is. Yeah, I think.
If everyone does.
Yeah. Oh, I love the show.
Oh, we do. The opinion of the chair, the resolution SR 24-25-009, letter of unity and support. Now, our next item of business is SR 24-25-10, resolution for consistent and active communication with the student body. Is there a proponent speech? There is.
Oh, it is. That's actually very sensitive. For anybody that was here, for when I came here to become a senator on spring, maybe this resolution is not that much of a surprise. When I came here to be a senator, my initiative was to connect. Oh, can I have the other mic? I think this will be further away.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah, it's its own mic.
Yeah. Okay. So when I came as senator, I wanted to unite UNO with SGA, open to make a bridge between us and be able to meet students at the table. As senator, I was not able to get to that point, very short-term period. Sadly, I was not able to meet that goal. As student wellness coordinator, I've been able to not only commence on that goal, I've been able to excel in it and being able to connect to our student orgs, student community, and student Greek life. Thanks to that, I've been able to do this survey and know that there's a gap between our communication between SGA and our student community. This resolution is all about promoting and committing to actively talk to our student body and primarily our student orgs. We as SGA, if we proclaim to be the voice of the student body, cannot be a body that cannot be a voice that does not listen to the body. In the end of the day, we must commit to engaging and collaborating and actively hearing that our student community and our student body. In the end, this resolution, I want senators and the executive branch of SGA to connect with our student orgs and connect to Greek life to be able to form more of a partnership between us in engaging issues in UNO, being able to collaborate and bring up these issues to administration and being able to, in the end, be able to resolve these issues. In this resolution, you'll find that I have a sketch, well, we go on the bottom. I do have an idea of how this will look like. If you haven't read it over, I would encourage you to read it over. In the end, I want senators to communicate with our student body, and I want it to be active in a timely manner and in transparent manner. I hope we are able to do this. And I hope that as we go forward from here, we're able to be a student voice that is able to be able to talk about the issues in a meaningful way, in an impactful manner of our student body. Oh, if you have any questions, I'm here to answer. You're okay.
Senator Hershman Harding.
Did have a question. Do we have any particular communication channels that we're hoping to better prioritize, or ones that like you would like to assign, like committees versus maybe more of an exact movement, or what that might be?
It has to be green on the top.
Exactly. There we go. Yes. Well, if you have noticed, I've been communicating throughout the student body in the last couple months, months, now it's months, yes, 2 months. But basically, I've been using my mailing list, for example, to communicate with the student body. Also, programming meetings with them one-on-one in person to be able to hear their issues in a meaningful manner and show that I do respect our student body and our student orgs and show initiative. But the methods that it will of course be by email. It will of course be by it could be one-on-one meetings. It could also be literally by a survey that how I did. And I was able to hear 120 students from the student org, officers, presidents, members hear their voices out and their issues. You will receive a lot of those issues in a couple of weeks in a very organized manner. So you guys can actually maybe work on them. Work on them. In the end, those organized communication programs that we have already in place in SGA can be continued to be used. I will also clear up when it comes to the way that we'll communicate with the student orgs. We already do it. We make when it comes to committees, we have already what we did in our meetings. We already have a report. It will just be about sending those reports to those student orgs so they have more transparency of what we're doing in SGA and how we are addressing their issues. Also, we will open the line to communication of them communicating with us. That goes for Greek Life and for student orgs. They will be more open in a sense when we communicate with them personally to send their issues to us and be able to work on them. As we work on them, I do wish to also report back to them.
Now we're on a period of discussion on the resolution. Is there any discussion? If the Chief of Staff Ostick.
Yeah, I mean, something that something that I'd just like to say that I kind of like about this resolution is that it really kind of takes a strategic vision where it is high level and it's really just asking for commitment. It's not saying any specific thing is going to happen, but instead of redoubling of efforts in kind of our own minds and just when we're going about the day with our responsibilities as student government officials to just and representatives to just really kind of keep an eye out and like remind it's like these are the responsibilities and like something that we are going to actively try to be doing better at and to do more for. And so I really like that it's just really kind of offering that vision.
Is there any other discussion? Oh, Regent Adidam.
Yeah, so I actually got access to the survey results a couple days prior, and I had an opportunity to really look at the results, and I didn't realize how big that disconnect between student government and the student body truly was. And as regent, I really want to ensure that when I am the only voice of the student body in a lot of administration meetings, that I'm not only giving my opinion, but the opinion of 15,000 students. So one way I plan on advocating on behalf of that through this resolution is by having student org meetings. So specifically when I meet with the senior vice chancellor and chancellor on a monthly basis,
I plan on utilizing the input and feedback student orgs give me to really further that initiative and to ensure that I'm doing my best to relay your frustrations and concerns as much as we are relaying our frustrations and concerns.
Is there is there further discussion on the resolution? If there's no further discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. All those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the resolution passes. Our next item of business is SR 242511, support for longer library operation hours. Is there a proponent speech?
Right. Hi, everyone. My name is Gabriella, and I'm here to talk about the resolution longer library hours. As it stands, the current hours of SIS Library are from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., which fall short of what our students need for academic success. We all know the life of a student is not a typical 9 to 5 schedule, as many of our peers, including myself, rely on those late night hours to focus on coursework, prepare for exams, and collaborate on group projects without any distractions. Spring semester of 2024, the library was open until midnight, Monday through Thursday. This extra time was critical for students to have a designated quiet space to study. Since the reduction of hours, many have expressed concerns about losing access to a distraction-free, safe, secure environment late at night, especially for those who may not have a suitable study space off campus. By limiting access to these valuable resources, we're asking students to choose between their safety and their academic success. I understand the decision to reduce the hours was based on low attendance from the hours 10 to 12, as shown in Exhibit A. However, I believe there is room for collaboration and compromise. Library Dean David has expressed openness to working with us to find a solution, whether that's restoring the hours until 12 or exploring alternatives like 24-hour access for students. This resolution is not just about extending library hours, but it's giving students the time and space they need to excel in their studies while ensuring they have a safe space to do so. And I encourage you all to support this resolution. Thank you.
Is there questions?
Sorry, any questions?
Now we're on to a period of discussion. Senator Hirschman Harding.
Hi. I want to start by saying I'm very annoyed by this change too. I was definitely someone who sometimes is staying later on campus, and it's frustrating because most other spaces are also not open past this hour, especially spaces that are secure enough to be in to study. But my biggest concern is I don't think we actually have the authorization to make the change that's in the first, therefore be it resolved, which is saying that we're going to change the hours, like switch them back. I think this would probably be best, as you kind of mentioned, handled as like committee work where it's a collaboration with him, especially because he's open to it, and just like finding a good compromise, as you mentioned, kind of the like hey, can we reduce staffing if only certain floors of the library are open after certain hours? Or like, what else could we be doing there? Because I really love that you did this and it's super student centered. And I agree with the actual, like, please give me back my late hours. But I'm worried that we don't actually have authorization to do the first one, especially if it's like a staffing and funding issue. And like we saw in the statistics that it isn't as widely used, but I want to find a better solution. I just think that we need to change that first, therefore be it resolved more to that we are going to have a collaborative discussion with the relevant people to create a better solution because we don't actually have the way to like our therefore be it resolved can't change the library hours because we're not in charge of it. But I want this changed. So I think we just need to edit the wording to say that like we are going to be involved, or even if it's like I would be happy to have this in my committee because it's outreach committee, like just having that collaborative discussion with him on better ways that we could maybe plan for this to try and get those hours back in a way that is still cognizant of the lower attendance and the staffing needs that they have. Because I really want to see this keep moving. I just don't think that we don't actually have the power to change the hours ourselves because of our position.
Is there further discussion on the resolution? Senator Calaton Palacios.
I would like to make a motion to change the language in the first whereas. So the library is public, so I would like to say library access to the public or somewhere between the lines of that.
To the, so,
Just point of clarification here, so it'd be changing, has the library accessible to on-enrolled students, change that to the public from 7 AM to 10 PM. Great.
is there a second to the motion? Senator Hirschbaum Harding. Now we're on to a period of discussion on the motion to strike all enrolled students and add the public. If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Senator Valadares.
I motion to change the clause to say to advocate and collaborate with the library dean, David, for the clause that, Senator Hirschman Harding was talking about.
The first, therefore.
Yes.
The first.
The first.
Therefore.
So all the way
Oh,
down.
okay. So add,
So you're gonna strike out. Add advocate and we're gonna,
to where?
okay, wait. Sorry.
You're so good. Chief of Staff Ostick.
As a suggestion of language, it could be that student government advocates for youth library hours to return to a closing time of 12 AM.
Okay.
Just as a suggestion. I think Senator Harms may have some.
Okay.
Senator Hirschbaum Harding.
Also just for like our consideration, I was thinking like the SGA will work in collaboration with library staff and appropriate administration to find a reasonable compromise to this issue considering the current situation. Because then that way it like lets us get some wiggle room if like on what that is. But it's got the action step. We can also, if we feel like it, add in specifically which committee will be doing it if we want it to be committee work. If not, we can just say SGA will, and then we'll assign it to appropriate committees afterward.
Regent Aridang.
I would definitely advocate for assigning it to a specific person or a specific committee. I just don't want it to get lost in things, assuming people will pick it up. In reality, there is no follow through.
Chief of Staff Ostick.
I would, just recommend also that we be careful about adding the word compromise in there before we truly know what the reason is, for why they've decided to change these hours. Because we could be weakening our position, intentionally.
Should we put
Senator-
pollution?
Yeah.
Okay.
Senator Valladares.
I actually had a meeting with him and he is open to like extending the hours to midnight or even the 24-hour like access. But when he said that, he was telling me that it would be a process to have that 24 access since we would need like math cards to actually like be able to like have access to that. And we were talking about like staffing wise that maybe we could come to some agreement where we don't need staff. I went to UNL my freshman year, so there at that library, it's 24 hours where you can have access with your like card. Over there, it's called the NU card. And there was sometimes like no staff, so it could be, so that was something we were both talking about, having the library open 24 hours, and if there need to be staff, there is, and then if there's nobody willing to like work the hours, then the library would just still stay open.
Senator Hirschbaum Harding.
Okay, so I think I've synthesized what we've said. So I've got written down, SGA, specifically Outreach Committee, will be assigned work in collaboration with the library dean and appropriate library staff and university administration to find a reasonable solution to this issue.
Is that, is that a motion?
It is if she says yes, because she hasn't fully changed her motion. So it's technically, she's still in the middle of making her motion. I'm just giving her ideas.
Ideas, okay. Senator Valladares.
I'm okay with that motion, but can I work with the committee that's gonna be working
Yes,
with
you can.
this? Cause I do wanna be a part of this since I'm already speaking like to him about this.
Yes, you are
okay.
allowed to
Everyone's
join
allowed to sit in on the
Outreach Committee since the Outreach Committee is open for the public.
Okay,
So, yeah.
sorry.
It's a good clarification.
Then,
So
so there is a motion. Senator Hirschbaum Harding, can you please send me that motion?
Yeah, I'll just email it to you.
Yeah, and then, oh, is there a second to that motion? Senator Rye, seconded. Now we're on to a period of discussion on the motion. And then the motion will go on the,
It's going to you now.
is it the striking this whole thing and then adding, yeah, okay. This is the motion. Is there, since it's been seconded, is there a period of discussion on the motion? If there's no discussion on the motion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Senator Hirschbaum Harding.
With that change, I would also suggest that we change the last, therefore be it resolved to, after like appropriate meetings have occurred and a solution has been gathered, we'll have Library Dean David come in and talk at a Senate meeting to update us about solutions. Just so that we have a specific timeline on when he's gonna show up.
Is that a motion or you're asking?
Yeah, it is. Sorry, I should,
okay.
yeah, you know, long day. But yes, I am making a motion to change the last, therefore be it resolved to, after an appropriate solution has been determined, we will invite Library Dean David to come in and talk at a Senate meeting to update us on the solution.
Is there a second to the motion? Senator Rye? Then is there a period of discussions? If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. All those opposed. Oh wait, all those in favor, please raise your placards again. Okay. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Now we're on to a period of discussion on the resolution. Oh, Senator Calapan Palacios.
Firstly, thank you, Gabby, for doing this. I've had a lot of students talk about how they miss being at the library late at night because it is a place of comfort and a safe space for them, especially for commuter students. So I just wanted to say thank you for taking initiative on this.
Is there any further discussion? Oh, Regent Aridam.
I know this is such a small thing. Could we possibly, since it is a resolution, add the semicolon and comma after every single whereas clause, just to make it more standardized with our other resolutions?
Comma and semicolon.
Comma and semicolon.
And semicolon after
Semicolon.
every whereas clause in the first therefore clause. If someone could make that motion, that would be so amazing.
Can I seek unanimous consent?
Okay, Senator Hirschman.
Seek unanimous consent myself.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I am seeking unanimous consent to update the grammar by putting comma and semicolon for all whereases and the first therefore.
The first, and for the therefore,
The first there.
the first one.
The
Okay.
chair, do you affirm that?
Yes, I do affirm that.
Okay.
So
Then-
we're good. Okay, I can do it. Okay. So does it need to be bolded? Or no? No, okay.
No, it's
Oh.
the end. The end.
Oh, at the end? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, can you please write that down so I can remember?
Yeah.
Please. Okay. Is there any further discussion on the resolution? If there's no further discussion on the resolution, now we're on a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the resolution passes. Okay. Okay. Senator Piper,
Hi guys, I motion to move to group for 7 minutes, like right now.
Senator Hirschman Harding has been seconded. Now voting, no discussion. No discussion. Okay. Now we're on to a period of voting to move to group for 7 minutes. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those in opposed, please raise your placards. The motion has been adopted to move to group for 7 minutes.
All right, back here, Oh. Yeah.
Where did they go? Oh, at the end?
Two that you can do.
And then all of them.
That's why. Just hit out flyers. This should be really exciting.
Okay.
There. Is that it?
I think.
Only for this one, the first one. And then our next resolution. Agency.
We can make it much
Yeah, it's like you really respond to things for you. And such a warm red. Afraid.
Changed my pants and I went to 3 back-to-back classes and now I'm here. I don't know, I'm totally listening. I just can't like, I don't have feelings to like make eye contact and like. No. I was listening. I just, the speech was maybe not. Yes. I'm wondering if it's better like pocket right now.
That's how law enforcement is. That's how. Maybe that's how they do this. I wish you would have given this.
Like a resolution.
I'm just gonna find yours was. We would use them. You know, but still, it's there. This girl, what if girls want her to do? Wanted to come out.
Yes, I agree, but.
Trying to be like you're like.
I think
No, I get it. But she's like, yeah, you can bring it in. Because of this. Stop my friends. Talk to my friends. Literally stop me. Find something my friends.
Got about 20 seconds.
2 hours.
That's okay. You can like the music and. Alright, then it's fine. Then I will leave it until I.
We are so bad.
Let's do the music.
Where is it? Where's the agenda? Our next item of business is SR 24-25-012, agency core value purchases. Is there a proponent speech? You need a microphone.
I wanna go BB.
Oh, I have to wear it?
All right. Good evening, everyone. I hope you all had the opportunity to read this resolution and my justification for it attached to it when I sent it an email. I understand that it's late, so I appreciate it being added to the agenda. But the conversation is leading me to realize the necessity of the resolution didn't happen until yesterday, so it was a pretty quick turnover for the resolution. The purchases we keep submitting continue to be denied. 3 hours before this meeting, I received another email regarding purchase requests for a commissioned artist, parenting products, and sex toys being denied. I would like a senator to move for an amendment once I'm done adding another clause regarding these purchase inquiries that were denied this evening. I also have an email that can go in the appendix. The Women and Gender Equity Center was created over 50 years ago to advocate for various rights and access to personal autonomy, education, and community well-being among all levels. The governing body standing before me right now was the same one as 50 years ago that passed a resolution resulting in the inception of what we know as the Women and Gender Equity Center. On top of that, this is the same governing body that voted on the budget at SABC last year, being fully aware of our agency's work in various aspects, including mutual aid, education, advocacy, and belonging. This budget was approved by the chancellor, yet the university has turned around and claimed that the purchases we are requesting are not following the Board of Regents policy, which has no standing. The university claims that we are not following its policy regarding student fees, which states, offices receiving Fund A support must benefit a broad-based student population. The WGC, along with other agencies, uses our funding to support a broad-based student population. The WGC was created to broaden services for the student body, and all the agencies have been created around a particular marginalized identity that goes unrecognized with the services of a university that's a predominantly white institution. With marginalized identities also comes marginalized experiences. Students who have never had a sex education, students who have experienced racism, students who have had abortions, and students that are single parents, among other unique experiences. The work that we do as a student government agency ensures that you are not only servicing able-bodied, straight, cis, white men born in the US who aren't first generation. Earlier tonight, I sat through the results of an SGA survey where the results stated that students don't feel seen, heard, or represented through SGA. What do you guys think that is? Because when people come forward with issues surrounding these marginalized identities and experiences, we are often met with hostility. As mentioned earlier, there is a relationship to be built up between SGA and the agencies, and that is due to a hostile university administration. When you ask yourself, in theory, could every student benefit from this? We are your yes to that question. The agencies together, we service multicultural students, we service disabled students, we service queer and trans students, first-generation students, international students, and more. I fear our purchase is being denied multiple times within the past year. Is the university shutting down our programming and operations without fully getting rid of the Women and Gender Equity Center? We are working within our agency's core values and purposes, specifically read from our bylaws as advocating for a range of issues across different levels, including but not limited to rights and access related to personal autonomy, education, and community well-being. The university's claim that we are viewpoint focused and biased is absurd and false. Denying the purchases we request, which are very clearly tied to our organization's purpose, is discriminatory, plain and simple. So I ask Kathy Pettit and the Board of Regents to speak on this publicly. Are you being openly discriminatory against us? Why did you launch an audit that was specifically targeted towards the WGC? And why are you denying t-shirts that are green, red, black, and white under the reasoning that they are a Palestinian flag? You're being openly racist. You're being openly anti-reproductive justice by denying purchases that benefit student parents, that benefit abortion access, that benefit sexual education, and that benefit education regarding an ongoing genocide. That is not well-being. So tonight, I call for Kathy Pettit's resignation. Kathy, I hope you are listening when I say that you are not a dean of students. You do not care about students and their well-being. All you care about is yourself and the power you so desperately want. The use of intimidation, isolation, and other power and control tactics towards students, staff, and faculty is disturbing. It is well known that the agencies and student government do more for the students' well-being at this university than you do. So stop trying to inhibit the work that we do and resign. Your time at the university is done. So please vote yes to this resolution, because a yes to this resolution is a yes for DEI. So I'll take any questions.
Hey, thank you so much for coming up today. I admire kind of what this resolution's about. I was just wondering what it is the resolution's asking for. If you could touch on that a little bit more, with just the last two, therefore it be resolved, please.
Yeah, so under my understanding, let me pull it up. SGA can give, I don't know if we can, I don't know if that's within our jurisdiction, but I would be asking for SGA to give a public employee. That's the statute that was sent to me. If you see that in the appendix that I attached, she cited a specific statute saying that she couldn't approve them because it was using university funds as a public employee in favor of an issue. I don't think that that was an appropriate citation because it's not regarding a ballot initiative anymore. It's a lot greater than that. It goes beyond the t-shirts that we wanted for 437, 438, and 439. And I think if anyone in SLY is able to publicly purchase those items, and if you guys as a governing body can give that consent to her to buy those bandanas and t-shirts that were referred to as that were denied because they were a Palestinian flag is what I was told. So and then the second one is just kind of codifying that within the legislature of student government, saying that going forward, any purchase that is very clearly aligned to your purpose and your core values as an agency is valid, and that so I can purchase it.
In your second, therefore be it resolved, SGA gives all student government agencies the ability to purchase from their respective budgets for purchase requests aligning with the purpose and core values set out in the organization's bylaws. Two questions here. Are you talking about SGA's cores and bylaws or WGEC's?
Specifically laying out all of the 6 agencies, all of their organization's bylaws.
Do you have a copy of your core values and beliefs with you tonight?
Yes, and they were attached on the appendix. It's Appendix B.
No further questions at this time.
Point of information, even if we were to say pass this, would they not just be able to deny any funding, especially since, you know, they run most of the finances? Like, what's stopping them from just denying any purchase you have in the future?
Yeah, that is also my concern, that this passes and then they say no still. And I think that should raise everyone's flag, like red flags. That is very concerning, that student government is passing a resolution saying that this organization, it's valid and the purchase request is valid, and they're still saying no. I think I would be very concerned if that happened. Yeah.
So to kind of go like back on the previous question you just got, so I kind of I get like they could say no, but is there like any plan in place to kind of like try to push it forward? Like kind of I guess like try to I guess mainly what's the whole plan that you have here?
Yeah, we have thought that far. We've thought about calling out the university publicly, a lot more public than it just being within the university and it being maybe citywide or statewide, pulling in people, because this is discrimination and it's very like it's so visible that what's happening is discriminatory by the university and by specific administration, and they're using their control and power to pull in Board of Regents, and they're using that as justification. I think our concern is that if that does happen, if they just continue to deny our purchases and they're very obviously targeting that for the work that we're doing by saying that it's a politically related topic and that we have bias in all of the rhetoric that they're using, I think the right move is to make it a lot more public.
I was just wondering what the Your Voice, Your Vote event is about, because that's the one that has the pro-abortion, pro-weed shirts, right? That's what that was for.
Yeah, that was initially for that event. We have had previously sex ed night when it comes to Week of Action for Abortion Access, but because of it's an election year and there's ballot initiatives in question, especially in Nebraska, we felt it was appropriate to reformat that so it's about abortion and abortion access, because it's known that we not celebrate, but we host events and programming around Week of Action for Abortion Access. And we've done that previously in previous years. Yes.
Just to ensure you're getting the representation you deserve, are they still letting you host the event? The problem is just like fundamentally the funding for the t-shirts and like items as such, but they're not barring you from the event, correct?
Yeah, so the events were approved on President's, and then once we started submitting those purchase requests for what we needed for the events, that's when everything started getting denied. Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay, thank you. So Senator Benitez had a question about it being denied again. I think we can direct that question directly to our advisor. Paige. So if Paige would like to answer that question.
You want me to have the mic or? Yep, I got it.
Well, first off, I just want to say, Jess, thank you for being here. I do appreciate you coming and talking to the Senate. From what I can speak, as far as I know, if this does pass tonight, Senate decides to pass this resolution, Sierra and I, we are going to work to elevate your concern to campus stakeholders. Once again, I cannot speak on what they will decide, but that is the plan of action that we have in place should you all decide to pass it tonight.
I have a request for information, yeah. Just as a request for more information from anyone who might know the answer, are we eligible as SGA to actually give consent for the changing of the purchases or to like give permission to the agencies and these public employees? Because I understood that it was like a higher up like Board of Regents and legislative issue that was barring some of it, and that's why some of that wording had been used. But just like for that context, as we get into our discussion, are we allowed to give consent for that or say that we're going to let that happen?
Yeah, just kind of point of information on that,
It's not on.
Yeah, point of information, and that's also contradict if I started saying nonsense, but we would be able to give consent to do so, but we could not compel. That would be one of the differences. We can say, we believe you should do this and you have our approval to do this, but we could not necessarily say, hey, we are forcing you to do this. And like compel that sort of action.
Also, like I said earlier, the ballot initiative in question was with like why they cited that was because the shirt said pro-abortion, pro-weed. And then they say vote on 437, 438, and 439. So because they said vote on this specific ballot initiative, Sierra as a public employee cannot approve the purchase request for that specific design. So I did ask, I was like, so what if it just says pro-abortion? It's not taking a stance on the ballot initiative, but I haven't gotten a full answer on what that looks like. Senator Ron?
Hi, so thinking like future wise, like if we were to pass this amendment and then they were to say no to like this purchase or like any future purchases, I guess it's a point of information, but would we be able to give WGEC like funds from our main? Yeah, sorry.
No, so WGEC's funding is through SGA, so technically their money is our money, so that wouldn't be possible. The issue is more so like Sierra being able to approve the purchase. So they already have the money. They just aren't able to spend it.
Okay.
That is at the 10-minute per questioning right now.
I motion to extend questioning by 5 minutes.
By Senator Gomez. Now we're on to further discussion to extend questioning to 5 minutes. 5 minutes back. Is there any discussion? Now I'm seeking unanimous consent to do extension of questioning to 5 minutes. Is there any dissent? In the opinion of the chair, questioning has been extended to 5 minutes.
A lot of questions. Senator Calderon?
So you mentioned that a Board of Regents policy was mentioned to you as the reason why for the denial of the purchase, correct?
Yeah, all of them.
Did they state what Board of Regents policy that was, or can someone clarify what Board of Regents policy?
I don't have it memorized, but all I know is that it says. I don't know like the specific article.
Were you talking about the one where it talks about ballot initiatives?
No,
Is that-
I was talking about the one from the Board of Regents policy. It says, I don't know, there's like the specific article, but it says offices receiving Fund A support must benefit a broad-based student population. So if you pull up the policy for Board of Regents and you just Control F, I'm sure you'll find it on there. Yeah, Senator?
I'm asking this more as a question just because I really care about your input for it. Just to clarify, because I think there was some confusion, at least on our end, I'll be upfront on my end. With the word consent, I think there was some confusion about it being like authorization to do it. And that's my worry, is that like on a technical basis, we'll get like that it won't do what we're hoping. Would you be willing to like slightly change just the word consent to be more of the like supports their ability to, or is like, you know, something more along those lines? Because I worry that the word consent is just like what's going to catch it up if we send it higher up too, is they're just going to say, well, you can't decide that they're going to do that and they're going to stop it. But I want this to be able to keep moving upward if it passes. So do you have a preference on wording, or like what you think would be most appropriate considering your goals, what you want, and the way that you want this to come across?
I don't have another wording choice, or like another word to replace that right now, but if someone like has another one, I would be willing to hear them out on what it is. On the, director.
So I have a question about what, in your mind, will the process of purchase requests look like if this is passed?
That's a good question. I think when it comes to the agencies being a part of student government, I think it gives us, like all of the agencies, not just the WGC, but the support of student government when it is brought up at a bigger level, like Board of Regents, knowing that the entire governing body of that student government supports this purchase being made, because it is aligned with the organization's bylaws and their core values.
So I guess, will the process like of you submitting a request stay the same, or do you want it to change as well?
I do know that it's changing because of the audit. So in terms of like what that process looks like, I don't really know what I want it to look like. It could realistically stay the same. The only problem that we're having is it being denied because of the justification of it not supporting broad-based student population. I don't think it's an issue with the process. I think it's an issue with administration not wanting to approve the purchases.
Point of information, and I don't remember if this got read out earlier, but it is in line with what you're saying. The policy is offices receiving Fund A support must benefit a broad-based student population. Student governments may not distribute Fund A monies to individuals except in the form of wages for services performed, nor do groups or organizations that are not established under direct control of student government. And yeah, I believe that's the policy, which is on, if you go to the Board of Regents UPF policy, is on page 173 of that document, which I can send out in the teeth check actually.
Yeah,
I might have misheard, but at the end of your proponent speech, you mentioned about the resignation of Kathy. Just so that I have a better understanding on when I vote, is that part of this resolution or something else?
It's a part of my proponent speech, but I wouldn't say it's a part of the resolution.
Okay.
Any more questions? Yeah, Senator.
So I'm just having kind of a hard time with this because I do think what's happening with like WGEC is like bad, like, you know, denying the students like, you know, the things they need. But I'm just kind of having a hard time understanding, like, because I know you said there's not really like a plan in place except for like maybe going public, like, and I know you also mentioned like Kathy, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, sorry, but you mentioned like Kathy, and like, did she like deny that, or like have you tried, I don't know, like compromising with her in some way? I don't know like exactly how the whole thing is going, just because like I'm a bit worried that there's not really that much of a plan except going public. And I feel like even though that'll bring more eyes to it, it won't necessarily guarantee any kind of change unless you have something in place for that to kind of like start that change or, put like a stepping stone in place, if that, makes sense.
Yeah, when it comes to, because there's been a lot of talk about asking Kathy to resign and whether she's fit for that position anymore. When it comes to that, we do have something in plan. And we do have next steps that we want to take in terms of the broader issue of the university politicizing our organization in terms of like abortion and reproductive justice and advocating for Palestine. I do understand where your concern is coming from. I just, we don't have a solid next step to take. But I do think this resolution passing is a good thing because it continues to put pressure on administration. And I know that they're already scared a little bit, but I personally haven't met with Kathy because anytime I've met with her, I have been met with hostility. And I think she doesn't appreciate sometimes my passion about things. But I do know that SJP today tried meeting with her and they weren't able to. So there are people trying to meet with her currently and actively about this specifically and the discrimination that WGC and SJP are facing, but nothing has resulted from that because it's so new. The meeting that I had with Sierra was just yesterday morning. So it's been such a fast turnover.
I'd like to note that we are at the 5-minute extension. Is there a possible motion to extend questioning for the resolution?
Extend questioning for 5 more minutes.
Is there a second to?
Actually,
3 minutes. Seconded by Senator Piper. I am seeking unanimous consent to extend questioning period to 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Is there any dissent? The motion has been adopted.
I was just wondering, do we know why the university is saying no to this? Is it because we're using Fund A money, like public funds? Or if we were to use money that isn't straight from the university, would they still deny it? Do you know?
I did ask that. They said that if, in terms of like the t-shirt design, the one that says pro-abortion, pro-weed, they said that if someone else funded it, then that would be okay. So it is specifically because it's university funds. It's quoted on somewhere on the resolution. It says politically related topics. Yeah, Director.
So going back to the core values, after reading them, I have a question for WGEC. Do you believe that you are representing all women on campus?
I do. I believe we're representing more than just women. I think we're representing women and people who identify with different genders.
So when it comes to acting or having a certain say in different, I don't want to say political, I'm going to say like having abortion, for example, or weed. I'm pretty confident in saying I don't believe that all women and other people that of a certain gender don't all support XYZ. So in my mind, student fees, which is a huge funding of SGA, if we are not, SGA's main goal is to be a voice for all of the students. And if we are not acting as a voice for all of the students, we are not doing our jobs. So since WGEC is representing all women, all genders, I find it hard to believe that all women support certain issues that WGEC has supported in the past.
Yeah, that is true, that not all women support, if we're talking just about abortion or issues about reproductive justice, not all women, not all people respect that. When we take a stance on pro-abortion, it's stating that abortion is healthcare. And if someone isn't in support of abortion, that's okay too. And we understand that. When I think sometimes it's misconstrued. The rhetoric that we use, it's a little bit more radical for people on campus, but I do think that it's appropriate to say that we are pro-abortion and we still support all women on campus. Any more questions?
The 5 seconds left anyways.
Now we're on to a period of discussion on the resolution. Senator Hirschbaum Harding.
All right, I'll go with the action steps before I go on with my like thoughts bubble. I am gonna try and motion to change the wording just a little bit, just so that it gives it a higher chance of being successful later on. If you can scroll down to the therefores, please. I'm gonna try and switch that around so that it has instead that SGA supports and seeks the ability for employees, and then yada, yada, yada. And then we remove the word consent because that would no longer be grammatically how that word work. And then for the next one, it would be SGA supports the ability of all student government agencies, yada, yada, yada. Yada. So just changing a few words because I think that specifying that we want is that we're saying that we think that that's how it should be will make it easier to get it to move on if this passes, like higher up the chain. You want me to say it again?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Yes,
so
please.
the specific motion is in the first, therefore be it resolved. It's gonna be read as SGA supports and seeks the ability for employees working under student leadership involvement and inclusion to purchase, so we'd strike consent to purchase, and then the rest would be unchanged. Yeah, and then it would be,
To
instead of gives, it would be supports and seeks the ability of.
supports and
Supports and seeks
seeks.
the ability of. I feel like I'm doing popcorn reading right now. And then it's supports instead of support.
Supports.
Supports, yeah. And then, and the next one, it would be SGA supports the ability of all student government. So we would take out gives all and say supports the ability of. So take out gives and then put this supports the
And
ability
all
of.
too.
Yeah, we'll just take the whole thing. It would be supports the ability of.
Supports the ability.
I have nightmares like this sometimes, guys. This is.
And then-
Okay, so those are
okay?
just the slight
Yeah,
grammatical changes that I am seeking to make in there. So I just need a second and then we'll keep trucking.
Point of information, it supports and seeks. So the
Oh,
S
seeks.
and seeks.
Thanks.
Yes.
And then does the second therefore be resolved need an S?
Supports, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a second to the motion? Senator Rangel is seconded. Now we're on to a period of discussion on the motion. Senator John.
Since she did write this, I would just like to make sure that WC Director Jess is like okay with this wording change. And we're not just like putting words in her mouth or anything like that.
Is there a microphone? Can I give that to her?
You have to then, I think, lend her your time if she actually wants to. You can say, I
Oh.
my time too.
So they can respond to questions.
Oh, okay, never mind. Allowed.
If it's directly asked.
Are you okay with this wording change? Jess?
Yes. I had to make sure what I was reading, but yes, I do.
Is there further discussion on the motion? Oh, Chief of Staff Ostick.
One thing I would note is that, just relative to where it is before, it's more of a passive verbiage on the part of SGA, which I think does kind of also weaken the degree of support as opposed to giving, which is like active, sort of verb where it's kind of actively affirming. It is more passive saying SGA supports this. And is something there, so, I can't motion or anything other, but I just think that's something, for the Senate to, I don't know, to do.
Point of oh my goodness, so sorry. Point of clarification on a purely grammatical stance, it is technically like the present simple tense. So supports and seeks is not a past, it's a present simple tense, which means that it's continual. In the same way an infinitive would be.
It's also, I'm not, that's like the education, it's like, I'm like.
Yeah, that's the third grade teacher in me.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? Senator Gomez?
We're making all these changes at once. We might want to get rid of the second, the ability, last therefore be it resolved. It's after your government agencies.
Oh, thank you.
Is that a motion?
It's a correction to the motion, so
Correction to the motion?
we can just
To
lump it
strike
all together.
the ability.
So this would be a, amendment to the amendment, so there's a motion there, and then there needs to be a second.
A seconded, so is there a seconded to strike Senator Hirschbaum Harding? And it's this, the ability, this one? All right.
Yes, and I'm specifically gonna seek unanimous consent for that change within the change. We haven't approved the whole change. We're just taking out the word the ability because I missed it.
As for verbal.
A verbal vote, never mind.
Is there dissent towards the amendment to the motion?
And just any.
Oh, and then any more discussion on the motion? And then do roll. Oh,
All this for the same time.
oh, okay. So all those approve, or all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And then all those opposed, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted.
So now we're back onto the amendment itself. That was the amendment.
We're still talking about the amendment. We haven't fully adopted the amendment yet.
So we're on the amendment. That was the amendment to the amendment to get rid of
Amendment.
the ability.
To remove the ability
We moved the ability, now we're back onto the amendment,
on the.
which is to change it to supports the ability and.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? All those in, wait, is there any further discussion? Oh, I did, okay. Then all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Then all those opposed, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the amendment has been adopted. Now we're on to the period discussion on the motion,
The discussion on the resolution,
the discussion on the resolution.
the amendment.
The amendment. Senator Gomez?
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this resolution, just because I was looking at, what's going to be on the ballot this year. I was also looking at the revised statute that was mentioned in that email. And on the ballot, we have two measures about abortion and marijuana. And on the statute, it talks about, let me see if I can find it real quick. Public official or public employee shall not use or authorize the use of public resources, which would be Fund A, for the purpose of campaigning for or against the nomination of or election of a candidate or the qualification, passage, or defeat of a ballot question. So I feel like if we were to pass this tonight, I don't think it would get much further than here, just because I don't think the university would want to take a chance to push something through like this, and we could face punishment from the state because it is a state law. So that's kind of where I'm at. I do think having those kind of shirts, talking about like pro-abortion and pro-weed does push support for something that's going to be on the ballot, which could be risky when it comes to state law. So.
Senator Benitez?
And I mean, I totally support like what's being asked in here, like pro-abortion and pro-weed and stuff like that. But I feel like the main language that at least what they were citing to deny these costs were just that the fact that, especially like the shirts that had like a clear bias. I feel like the bandanas and Students for Justice in Palestine. I feel like that's just raising awareness, and I don't feel like that's like inherently any biased, but I feel like the main meat of this kind of falls onto the t-shirts. So I just feel like it'd be best to either think about going a different direction, like separating the two, like with the shirts being its own separate things and the Green Band and Students for Justice in Palestine doing its own thing, because I feel like those two are mostly just based on awareness compared to the shirts, which is a clear bias towards, vote for this or, be pro this, which, I support it. However, it's a clear bias. We can't deny that. So just maybe think about either splitting this into something different or, coming back and rewriting something that can kind of separate these two so it can make it a little easier for us.
Senator Hirschman Harding.
I have a couple, and the first one is going to be a direct request for information to the WGEC. In the purchase request that you made that you were just talking about with like the parenting supplies that got denied, did they specify which items had been denied, or did they just deny the purchase as a whole? Because I have bigger concerns if they're saying the parenting items are not a go, or if it was because it was lumped in with something else that they decided was a no-go. So I didn't know if they told you specifically what item had been denied for each one, or if they just tell you the whole purchases.
I have a mic.
Okay.
So it was more of an inquiry that I had, more of a question that I had for Sierra, because I know that all of these purchases are being denied. So I was like, hey, if I bring this forward, is it gonna get denied? She said she was gonna ask her boss. They said that's when I got that email, and I can forward that to everybody here, what specific language is used in that email, but it says, I have it pulled up. It says, as a follow-up to the purchasing part of our conversation, I was able to elevate the following request to campus stakeholders. So it was $250 for the artist payment for the shirt design, because that contract was signed. So I want to make sure that the artist, even if we don't use the design, I think it's within their due diligence to pay someone for the work that they do. And it's in that Board of Regents policy to pay someone for the work and within wages. So that compensation I think is valid. So that might be another resolution that I bring forward, because they obviously denied it in this email. And then it's a purchase of $1,200 worth of diapers, just because the way that our parenting program has changed, there's restrictions, and we have to now do it in bulk. So.
Thank you.
And then can I continue with the rest of my turn? Does that, okay.
Yes, granted.
So part of the concern I'm having here is the fact that it seems like there is some, like, it's not like just about this resolution. It's about the background that's happening on a higher up side, that like, there doesn't seem to be a lot of clarity on what they consider to be like what is political enough that it is a problem. So like what is considered nonpartisan, what's a broad base of students? Like it's concerning to me that there is a discrepancy, because to some degree it can really be expected that politically distinguished opinions are going to form about topics relevant to agencies. Like it's at times considered political to be pro LGBTQIA+, but like I'm not going to expect QTS to not have messaging that they're requesting that has that on there. And like in the same sense, like it's considered political by many people to be pro birth control, pro sex education, all of those things. But we also can't imagine that some of our agencies are going to stop having statements and positions on these that they would like to put out there. So that's why, like, some of the messaging, I can understand why they might have concerns about it, but with other messaging, like that's integral to what we expect to be part of this. And I'm just more concerned that, of course they're going to have opinions on it. And I don't love that we don't have a distinguished opinion on what is and isn't considered to be nonpartisan, or what is and isn't within the realm of possibility for it. Just again, speaking from a higher up point, not like the WGC doesn't know. Like, it slightly concerns me that like I couldn't tell you where within our policies we have decided what is and isn't something that is severe enough that it would be denied. So I think if we want to move this forward, or like if that's a step that needs to happen first, I do want to figure out, based on administration, like what's it okay to have a stance on, what isn't. Like I want this to move forward, but it may also be helpful to like strongly request that they give us a definitive answer on that so that we can avoid this in the future, because I don't want it to move forward and then they just keep citing the same thing and we have no idea what it's talking about. So I don't know if that's a before or after kind of thing, but I'd like to have more definitive language on what they consider partisan enough that it is no longer within validity for putting on things that we're requesting to purchase. Because some of it is just like, yeah, of course they have that opinion. That's what they're here for.
Regent Aridam.
Especially since we know Paige and Sierra are gonna send this to higher administration, can we add another therefore it be resolved clause that there is a definition from administration on what they see as broadband student population and then political houses or something like that?
Chief of Staff Ostick.
Something that I think that we may want to do instead of asking is put forward a definition as to what we consider it, just so we're able to define terms of which, like, as students, UPF Fund A it's directly being paid by us. As students, it's not coming from state, it's not coming from tuition, it's not coming from taxes or any of these other things, it's particular to fee that's being paid by students. So perhaps we should have a role.
Senator Gomez.
I'll let Senator Brady go first.
Hello. I just think that's something else we should also consider until we have a more definitive answer from administration in terms of definitions, that we could also suspend this resolution until a later meeting until we have an answer from administration. That way we can make a more concrete answer based on their response. I just feel like making a decision right now with kind of the what ifs and not really knowing definitively of what these definitions are and just kind of doing it based off our own interpretation is kind of, it's not very productive in any way. So I think suspending this resolution to a later meeting, that way we are concrete in what we know in terms of definitions would be more productive for us and also for WGEC.
Director Nguyen.
Okay, so I can see from your guys' perspectives, I know you guys are worried about what are the next actions or like steps taken if administration does keep denying the purchases. However, if we suspend the resolution today, one of the reasons why I just did send out this resolution was because SJP and WGEC is holding those workshops. Is it next week, Jess? Okay, it's next week. And so I think passing this resolution, I really hope you guys do push for it. So even if they do deny it, I will work with Jess and WGEC to see what we can do and what kind of conversations need to happen in order to see why they're denying these purchases, give us a more transparent answer, and just making sure that SJP and WGEC, those purchases make a big difference when it comes to spreading awareness on the events that are happening in Palestine. And so, yeah, if you guys are really concerned about passing the resolution, seeing that and they will deny the purchases, this is just going to be a step to pressure the administration in explaining why they denied those purchases.
I just kind of want to touch on Senator Brady's point. I think, I don't know what the university's turnaround time is for this kind of stuff, but passing this resolution doesn't allow like public employees to purchase this kind of stuff. And I feel like the university is going to take their sweet time with this kind of stuff. So I think if we really want to have a good impact, I think we should push this back to where we can make it as accurate as possible and as strong as possible. So when we send it out to the university, they can't come back and say, well, this part is wrong, or this part clearly goes against the law, like kind of with what I brought up earlier. So if we work on it these next couple of weeks, and then present it to the university with like factual background, I think it'll be a lot stronger, and might actually have a chance of making it past the university level.
I'd actually like to, Senator Piper to speak, although I do have additional perspective to add.
Thank you.
I guess I just have, I don't know if this is like a point of information, but if anybody could, I guess, answer, like, do you guys know how long it would take if we were to pass this tonight? Is it like almost guaranteed that this funding would go through and you guys would still get this by the time you guys need it?
If we don't pass it tonight, if we pass it, there's a chance. If we don't pass it, there's no chance.
Okay, okay.
If that makes sense.
There's also more than one workshop. So there's a workshop next week, but there's 2 workshops after that. So there's a workshop on the 30th of October and there's a workshop on the 13th of November. So it would come in time for those. Additionally, for the 24th, the next time that there's a Senate business meeting is the exact same day of our Your Voice, Your Choice. So we would need the green bandanas by then.
Director Lysy.
I want to make sure that every agency has the best foot forward going into their events that they're having. So with yours being so close, is it possible, without these purchases going through, is it possible that you can still hold your events?
So I think the broader question is, okay, so the bandanas were denied because they are related to abortion. So then if we put in a catering order tomorrow, something that I plan on doing for the event on the 24th, if they deny that, so they're just denying anything that has to do with this event that has a stance on being pro-abortion and pro-access to abortion on campus?
So I can tell you right now that if you put, I guess, because I want to make sure that you can still have your event no matter what, because that's, that's something that that all agencies should be able to do, is they should have their own events and support what causes that, they are supporting. So I can tell you that if you were to submit food, it would cross my desk, no problem. That's me speaking. I can't speak for Paige, Sierra, or anyone above me. So me personally, I would pass that with flying colors. I guess my question is it possible, looking away from green bandanas and shirts, is there other things that we can purchase maybe that will pass the university, just so like we can support your event in the best way that we can?
I express the same sentiment as my board members here and as SJP. We shouldn't have to do that, but there is, I don't want to say, yeah, we have another option, because then SGA is like, yeah, let's just rely on the other option, when it's very clear that the issue here is that they're inhibiting us from purchasing requests, from purchase requests that have to do with our specific event and that have to do with those like politically related topics. We might be able to find funding elsewhere. That's conversations that we've had, because obviously we still want the event to happen and the event was approved. But it would be really disappointing to have to go that route. And it would be really disappointing that SGA is making us go that route.
Of course, I just want to make sure that so if we need to make a decision tonight on whether this goes through or not, what can we do right now to best support you? So I'll pass it off to Chief Ostick.
Yeah, so it is now 10 o'clock, just being timekeeper, it's getting a little bit later. But there's been something that I've noticed in this discussion around this, that perhaps it may be a convergence point as far as this goes. And that would be perhaps motioning to strike the whereas clause that mentions the pro-abortion, pro-weed t-shirts, which, although is factual and relates to part of the story, is not necessarily the argument that we want to be crafting when we are putting it up there. Because there seems to be some amount of consensus that the green bandanas and the t-shirts are within the realms of advocacy and being non-biased, whereas these t-shirts that are more so explicitly, or at least you can infer a lot closer connection to the specific ballot issue, it kind of tends to cross that line. So if we wanted to go this route, that could be a way to do it. So then we are really centering it upon this event and the SJP event and kind of these more broader access instead of getting bogged down in a request, which could be, could be deemed as a more reasonable sort of thing, which I also think could put us in a strong position for further conversations with administration. And my second point, so that putting that out there as an option to do a motion, I think I could be a good consensus point, so then we can get on with the rest of our nights. There's actually Aurora Borealis tonight. But the second point is that there is actually speaking rules that I forgot I'm Director of Integrity and I've been supposed to be enforcing, where there's a 2-term speaking limit. I've been in massive violation of it. A handful of you have also been going crossing the line. I haven't been actually really keeping track. So I would just also request that if we plan to continue this discussion much further, that we suspend the speaking rule for 2 turns.
Is there any discussion on the resolution or potential motions? Senator Rangel,
With permission of the WGEC director, I motion to strike the whereas clause. WGEC had planned to purchase T-shirts with the phrase pro-abortion, my goodness, pro-weed, but the purchase request was denied.
since you directly asked WGC Fernando Arauzo, what are your thoughts on this, on striking the whereas clause?
Yeah, so it is a conversation that we've had with amongst our board and I think and with other people, and I've noticed that that is our biggest hurdle, and I agree that I don't want that to be the thing why this resolution doesn't pass. If we are still able to get those green bandanas and those shirts for the workshops, that is something that I would want to pass. So I kind of knew that something like that was gonna happen. So yeah, I'm okay with that being stricken.
Is there a second to strike the whereas clause? Senator Hirschman Harding. Now we're on to a period of voting. Oh wait, period of discussion to strike the whereas clause. Regent Adidam,
We can directly strike appendix C then.
Senator John.
Point of information, it does not strike appendix C. Appendix C is mentioned other places, because it includes other purchases.
Is there any further discussion to strike the whereas clause? Senator John.
This isn't like a discussion on striking the clause itself, just like around the clause. So taking it out of this document, how does that affect them getting funding? Like, wouldn't that negatively affect them getting funding for these materials? Or like, what exactly? I think I'm getting a little confused on that. Like, if you take it out of this document, how is this document then supporting them being able to get these different materials for these workshops? Does that make sense? Am I wording that?
Senator Hirschman Harding.
Point of clarification, I don't think it changes anything about like the action steps we're doing in the therefores. It's just like on a real technicality, if we send it higher up and they read it, they're not going to get stopped on that and go, well, maybe I agree with that, so I'm not going to actually listen to it. So it's just trying to like get them less caught up on maybe the phrasing of that shirt so that they can focus more on the actual content, which is we really, why are you denying these? Like they're integral to what we're doing, and the therefores, which is like, we want you to stop doing that. We want people to be able to approve these purchases. So I think it's just to kind of like maybe not put focus on the fact that that was one of the purchases that was being denied, but our message is still any of these purchases should be able to go through if they're integral to the message. Like we are still supporting the fact that they wanted to get these. We're just maybe not calling attention to the fact that it was in there should other people look at it just so that it's easier for them to process through. At least that was my interpretation.
That makes sense. Also, do just want to say like that we should all keep in mind that we don't want to like turn this into a thing of like taking things out of documents just so administration listens to us more or like takes concerns like these more seriously. Like this, I fully support. Just like in the future, not always turning to this as a solution when things like this arise. But yeah.
Is there any discussion to strike the whereas clause before we go into a period of voting? Now we're on to a period of voting to strike the whereas clause. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those in favor, please, oh wait, all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted.
And as a parliamentarian, just speaking again here, this is an issue that we've talked about quite a lot of times. So just in the spirit of moving things forward, if someone would like the motion to limit those things or make more amendments, go ahead. But the topic of discussion right now being this resolution. Not everybody's at their speaking limits, but some of you and you know who you are at that, which is it's 2 times. So I'm next.
Senator Brady.
I want a motion to suspend the speaking limit.
Okay.
2 times. Suspend it. That big.
Suspend
until the end of.
Yes.
Till end of the meeting. Okay. Senator, seconded by Senator Gomez. Now we're on to a period of questioning. Is it?
It's just a vote.
Is it 2/3 or majority?
It's 2/3, but it's just a vote.
Okay. So the motion, it has been seconded to suspend the speaking limits to be unlimited.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, to be unlimited, okay. Now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the motion has been adopted. Now we're on to a period, oh wait, now we're on, is there any further discussion on the resolution? Senator Rye.
I understand that it must be difficult for WGEC to have their purchases rejected. Just looking beyond WGEC, I just have a hard time understanding how it is appropriate. I don't mean this in a contradict or like a very rude way. I'm just trying to get a understanding. I don't understand how it is appropriate to use student fees to support one standpoint or anything, one topic, when other students don't feel the same way. I just don't understand why it's okay to purchase items that don't represent the whole student body.
Senator Rangel.
I would say like the thing about it is, regardless of where your stance is, there are always going to be people, and I feel like we always just kind of, and this is like the hard part about talking about the WGEC stands for pro-abortion. They have always done pro-abortion, rights. They've always done so much advocacy work for reproductive rights. I just sometimes feel like right now we are in a very politicized like time, and I don't know when this became a time to be like, well, we're not representing the entire student body, and I totally get that. But I think right now we're not looking at, WGEC has advocated for this type of stuff for probably years now. And now it's being questioned by everyone on why they're taking this stance when this stance has been stood on business for years. And I understand like not everyone agrees with it and not everyone, you know, has that political standpoint or whatever you may call it. But I also feel like they have a right to take that stance because that is what their organization stands for. That is what they are fighting for. And I know so many other student organizations who also believe in pro-life, who write on chalk outside of Milo Bail, and who advocate for that kind of stuff as well. And they are allowed to write the chalk on, you know, outside of Milo Bail that they're pro-life, and that's what the stance that they're taking. So I think it's a very hard conversation to have. But I think right now everyone's kind of scared of how administration is going to look at us after this gets passed. I think that's it. I think we're scared that administration is going to do something. And I think we're kind of basing this upon of what administration is going to think rather than, you know, it's not about the student body at this point. I think it's really just about we're scared of administration when this needs to be about advocacy.
Senator Piper.
Okay, I'm gonna try and word this, making sure that like my wording is very clear and understood when I say this. Personally speaking, I do not think. We'll start with something else first. I think right now, yes, it is politicized, but also we're weeks away from something that's very political. So I think right now, like political tensions are obviously going to be higher, and therefore we do have a right to look at this politically, I think. And also we are a nonpartisan body. So I think bringing the political part into it is very critical in this aspect due to the like timing of it. I feel like, and secondly, I think also when it comes to like administration, not to say that we should be necessarily scared of them, but we also have to make sure we're not cutting ties with them and be very careful with the way that we go with them, just in that aspect. So like, I don't want to like shut down what you're saying, but I think you need like, it just needs to be very like thoughtful in the way of like looking at the whole picture rather than, I guess, you know, black and white, like look at the gray area in that aspect. So that's just my kind of 2 cents, I guess. Thank you.
Chief of Staff Ostick.
I say this just coming from a background in experience and having many conversations with administrators and like being in those rooms and those spaces, I can tell you that they have this. I've gone back and forth, I've yelled at administrators, I've made fun of them to their faces, I've, you know, like talked about them and really kind of had like this back and forth. But we still come back to it and we still get back into working together because ultimately our goals are the same, are getting the university at a better level. And part of being able to get that done requires us to fully express ourselves and to fully and genuinely participate in the process and to not be second guessing ourselves of, oh, is this the real, it's, you know, it's that imposter syndrome. When sometimes it is just following that instinct and then trusting that the system will work it out and come out to a fair outcome. I have been in that space and I can tell you, I've tried to burn bridges with administrators, but those bridges are like made out of water, fireproof or something, like they're not burning, like.
Senator Gomez.
Okay, so I'm still trying to find the word, and I don't know how fast it's going to be, but I'm still trying to find the words, like how to put this. I wanted to touch on Senator Rangel's point, kind of talking about just the WGC and their stance on pro-abortion. I remember I talked to Zoe about it last year, just because I felt like, you know, coming from someone, which, I mean, I don't know if this is TMI, but like my grandmother wanted to abort my mom thought about me. So like this, guys, just hear me out. Generation. It is like, it was almost generation. Like I shouldn't be here twice for me. But I just like coming into you at UNL, I felt like WGC, like they may have been pushing, and I guess this is like how I saw it coming in. They may have been pushing like the women away that were pro-life. And I feel like the WGC should stand for more than just pro-abortion, should be pro-women, you know, so whatever you decide, whatever, I know this is weird coming from me, but like whatever you decide, like they should be there for that. And I don't think people are saying like it's not representative of the entire student body, and that's like the reasoning or the justification behind like why we're saying this. I think it's just because like we have to be cautious that this might scare some people away from the WGEC. But with that, I was just gonna bring up some points where I think we should motion to do this. Since we removed the last one, talk about like the pro-abortion, pro-weed, just to kind of avoid any bias or any potential bias from the university, you know, calling us out. I think we should remove the whereas that says, I forget which one it's called. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The seventh whereas starts with WGEC's viewpoints on abortion in Palestine are not discriminatory or biased, rather advocating for abortion as healthcare. I think that they may call that as biased just because some people may not believe that it's healthcare. So I just think because we cut the last one out, we might as well cut this one out just so they don't kind of attack us on this either. So just wanted to hear your guys' thoughts.
Senator Gomez, is that a motion to strike the whereas clause?
Yeah, we can do that.
Discuss it, make it a motion.
What?
If you want to discuss.
Then yeah, we'll do that then. So we can discuss it.
Is there a second to strike the whereas clause? Seconded by Senator Brady.
Can I have a say since this is my resolution?
No, unless someone yields time to you.
Yes.
Then yes, yeah.
Senator Rangel.
I yield my time to WGEC director.
Thank you. I think the conversation that we are beginning to have here is the same conversation that administration is putting on our organization, that you as an individual or you as a representative of your college think that this is a biased issue. But I think as the author of the resolution, I would be really disappointed if you guys struck this clause specifically, because the stance that we take is that abortion in Palestine are not discriminatory and that they're not biased. And if we're gonna have that greater conversation about not everybody having that pro-abortion stance, and that we as an organization that's funded by student fee monies should respect all of the perspectives that people have on campus, we also do respect, we actively try to fund parents because we know that not everybody wants to have an abortion. So if we're going to have that conversation, then let's also add that amendment about my purchase request about diapers being denied, because that's also a conversation that we want to have if we're going to talk about abortion and anti-abortion rhetoric. And in terms of Palestine, and we call for a free Palestine and an end to that genocide. And I would be really disappointed if that was stricken, because I think as a student government, you guys were appointed and you guys should start being more radical in the stances that you take and being afraid of what people are going to say. You're not here as an individual, you're here as a representative. And if you're scared of what people are going to say because your name is on something like this, and then I think people should start reevaluating why they're in student government.
Senator John.
Like, oh, here you go.
Like, who's Mike?
Yeah, that was the main thing I wanted to say. Like, I can understand how you could see pro-abortion as like not being fully inclusive of all women, because not all women want an abortion, but pro-abortion is like pro-women because it's pro-women's reproductive health, and that is something that concerns all women. And like Jess was saying, if this is just an issue on that, like specifically for striking this clause, then this clause shouldn't really be taken out, especially since they're specifically saying we're not being discriminatory or biased, and we should add in like something having to do with their diapers being denied, because that is like on the other side, and that is like fully being pro everything that has to do with reproduction and things like that. Yeah. And I also, on top of that, like what we were saying earlier of like student funds going to something that's not everyone in the student body, there are parts of the student body that's not everyone in the student body that still matter. Like queer and trans services is not everyone in the student body, but they still matter. Not everyone's an international student, but they still matter. Not everyone's first generation, but they still matter. So all of that like needs to be taken into account if we were at a later time to be like, oh, we need to put a definition on what student funds can or can't be applied to the student body, like not getting very narrow-minded in that view of what is or isn't supporting the whole student body. Yeah.
Is there any further discussion? Senator Brady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, although me personally, I do believe that this is like women's health care and like this is women's rights, and obviously this is something that should be very accessible to women. I think saying that it is unbiased is rather ignorant because there are people who do believe that it isn't women's health care. I think there's two sides to every story. I feel like there's always going to be someone against this. And so I think saying that it is unbiased is rather ignorant, which could also beg the question on this being a very biased statement. So I think it's a based off interpretation of an individual. So I'm not entirely sure like where this could be directed. I just think that there are two sides to this, and obviously the opposing view is pro-life. And so this could beg the question of it being a biased statement.
Regent Aridam? I think.
Fashion colors.
Oh, probably died.
I think my biggest issue with this bias statement is that every single decision that we make is inherently biased. For instance, QTS, you can see LGBTQ rights being inherently biased and people actively being homophobic because they believe in conservative values and things like that. But we actively fund them because we believe that they have a right to exist. Same with the WGEC and gender nonconforming students. That is an active stance that we decide to take to support those students on campus. For instance, like I remember at volleyball day last year, Governor Pillen signed in a bill to clearly define what it means to be a woman, but we actively fund women and gender nonconforming students that go out of that definition, even though that is technically a political issue and something that has been signed into state legislature. And we can bring that back to student issues like the library thing, right? Students here on campus may feel like, you know what, let's not extend it to 12, let's not have 24-hour access, but us as student representatives have the power to really advocate and take a stance for these issues, being school issues and being statewide issues, being national issues. And this has been something that WGEC has done for years and years and has not faced any backlash. And it would be such a shame for the university and specifically Student Government Association, in my perspective, to really remove that clause, because though it is biased, every single thing that we do is inherently biased. And I just think that this is a good reason. And I think that this is a clearly needed clause to really justify the resolution.
As a suggestion to reframe it, to get out of the binary, right now we're stuck in this binary between biased and not biased discriminatory. Whereas I kind of in concurrence with what Regent Adidam is saying, is that perhaps what we could say is WGEC's perspective is that abortion is healthcare and it calls for free Palestine. Alongside SGA, as we had already passed that resolution previously, if you remember the very first meeting passed unanimously here, where we are taking a stance here that not everybody here agrees with, but we take it because we believe it to be right. Oftentimes gravitating towards the center in this way where it's, oh, we're just going to pick both sides and say that it's like, and not take a stance, that leads to stagnation and can be, something there. So instead of being that binary where it's like, no, we don't have a perspective here, we say, this just is the perspective, because it is fairly transparent. And I think it's something that WGEC is willing to really wear quite proudly, as well as us as a, a body, we've taken stances before.
Senator Ringel,
I motion to end discussion.
is there a second? Senator Benitez?
It's discussion on the amendment, I'll
Yeah, discussion
clarify.
on the amendment.
Not all discussion, just discussion on the amendment to strike this.
Alright, so now it's a period of voting.
Now we're on to period voting to strike the whereas clause.
Or this is to end.
Oh, now we're on to period voting to end discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. And the opinion of the chair. The discussion has ended.
So now we're on to a vote. Now we're on to a vote on the amendment to strike, the seventh whereas clause. Oh, yeah, a period of vote, yeah. a vote, not- Yeah, a vote.
So now we're on to a period of voting to strike the seventh whereas clause. All those in favor, please raise your placards. All those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the motion fails. Senator Hirschbaum Harding,
I motion to end discussion.
is there a second? Senator Rangel, now we're on the period.
You can shout out, if you have a point, if you have a question, you can shout it out as a point of information
Point of information.
or request for
Okay,
clarification.
request for clarification.
So did you have a set statement in terms of reframing that whereas clause?
Yeah, I have it typed out right now.
I know you guys are gonna.
There's a vote happening right now, so this motion's already happening. I can send it to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna send it to you on Teams, but this is happening, so it's gonna go through this whole motion thing, 'cause it's already been seconded. And so might not have a chance to happen, so that's just where it's at. And back to where we were at with the second, there's a second to end discussion, and so now there's going to be a vote on ending discussion.
Okay. Now there is, we're on to the period of voting to end discussion.
Yes.
Didn't we just? Didn't the motion just?
No, so now we're
Yeah.
ending discussion on the entire resolution.
On the entire resolution. So now we're on to a period of voting to end discussion on the resolution. All those in favor, please raise your placards. 2, 3, 4. All those opposed, please raise your placards.
Effects and discussion continues.
So in the opinion of the chair.
Discussion just continues. It doesn't even, you just keep going, you don't hit the gavel.
Is there any further discussion on the resolution? Brady?
I would like to motion, with permission from WGEC Director, I would just want permission to reframe the clause to not clause, that whereas statement to WGEC's perspective is that abortion is healthcare and calls for free Palestine alongside SGA and an end to an ongoing genocide funded by the United States and.
Senator.
Yes.
French.
Yes.
Is there a second to that motion? Senator Hirschbaum Harding, now we're on to a period of discussion on the motion.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Do you have Teams or breaking? I'm the only person.
There's no further discussion on the motion. Now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, please raise your placards.
For adopting it, for this, okay.
To strike the seventh word clause and.
And to strike it and replace with the new. Yeah, I sent you.
Wait,
we're just stating that it's their viewpoint instead, like, we're just saying WGEC's viewpoint is, and then jumping to abortion is healthcare and call it, yeah. It's in there, we're just taking out the is not discriminatory or biased part.
Yeah, well, yeah, I sent, here, the text is sent, so it can be pulled up, for the exact amendment that Senator Brady motioned. Oh, yeah, if you're not talking, also just keep the side conversation, sit home. It's an extra mic, if you guys want it up here, so please just probably go. So I'll just shout.
This is the motion. Now, we're on to a period of voting to strike the seventh word clause and then add this motion. All those in favor, please raise your hands. All those opposed, please raise your hands. In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Senator Gomez. Okay.
Do not hurt me. I just have one quick thing to say. So the next whereas, we say our organization, just to keep it the same as everything else, can we change it to WGEC's core values? And then one more thing. I don't know if inappropriate politicized perspective fits. I was thinking more, whereas the university has infringed on WGEC's core values despite stating blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
I don't know. I just think that's.
I think that motion.
Yes. The university has infringed on WGEC's core values. Is that all right with, okay, sweet.
Yes.
Let's roll, let's rock it.
On WGC's. And then, or values.
Just adding on to that, Gio, if you want to finish this,
Yes.
say, with the purposes of core values set out in their organization's bylaws instead of the organization.
Can you repeat that?
In the final therefore be it resolved clause.
Oh, can you scroll down to that, please?
To change the to a there, in the very last sentence, like the third to the last word.
There.
Achieve portability, speaker agencies, particularly for mayor, budgets aligning with the core values set out in their organization.
Sweet. I motion to do that.
Thank you, Jenner. A second to his motions. Senator Valadares has seconded. Now we're on to a period of discussion on the motions. If there's no discussion, now we're on to a period of voting. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the motion is adopted. Now we're on to a little of discussion. Senator Hirschhorn voting.
Try to get, I'm gonna motion that discussion.
Is seconded by Senator Rangel.
You have my second.
Is there any discussion?
No discussion.
We just vote. We just vote.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. In the opinion of the chair, the discussion ended.
Now we get our note cards.
This one's not secret. It's not
I
secret.
thought we
It's not-
failed it. Because we failed it.
Now we're on to the period of voting on SR 2425-012 agency core value. All those in favor, please use your placard. And then all those opposed, please raise your placards. In the opinion of the chair, the resolution passes.
Yeah.
And still got the good of the order. Still got the good of the order.
No, I motion to adjourn. Adjourn.
Now, I'm moving to strike good of the order permanently.
Shut up. Hey.
Order.
Is there a motion to?
Seconded by Senator Gomez.
Please vote.
All those in favor, Senator Ryan.
No, we only said it was until the end of the meeting, so we're actually.
The other one, CT, I would say ICT. No, it's the 24-hour rule. It's the 48-hour rule. That one's still like loose.
Yeah.
We're not gonna.
All those in favor, please say aye. All right, all opposed, say nay. All right, meeting is adjourned.
Okay, everyone, please place your markers in the bin nicely. Thank you. It really is.